Folks, we are live. Welcome back to the Bull and the Bear podcast. I'm your host, the Bull. We have Dan the Bear apparently, although he's sounding more and more bullish as time goes on. Dan, are you sick or?
We're bullish. I was gonna tease you a little bit from your thumbnail. Your thumbnail was clickbait in more ways than one. No bear exists on this panel, unfortunately. We've got the Bull and the Bull. And you really clickbaited. The people were expecting a haircut. People were expecting a beard trim. The thumbnail that you used, that was many months ago over the summer. So I'm in full hibernation mode for the winter. This storm coming.
Dude, we were both talking. We were so busy this week, man. I took the old thumbnail and moved it around a little bit. I'm like, let's just throw something up. Let's just. The important part is I don't know which.
Yeah, I don't know which part is more clickbait. The lack of a beard, completely different individual on the thumbnail, or the lack of a bear. Where's the bear? I don't see any bear here. We are booming. We are bullish today.
All right, I'll bring the bear out. I'll bring a bear out with one statement.
Oh, okay, here we go.
One statement. Your Pokemon investments are better than your S&P funds. Oh no!
I will say they are better than some of them. I am on board with like Pokemon before brokerage accounts. I have 7 figures in Pokemon, my business inventory, my pallets, all the stuff combined.
Yeah.
I don't have a brokerage account. Like, I have a very small one. I have a Robinhood that I used to screw around with a few years ago, whatever. But I'm big on my buckets. I'm big on my IRA, 401k. I think tax advantaged traditional beats Pokemon, but I put way more in Pokemon. I put almost nothing in like brokerage accounts, after tax money that gets taxed, all that.
But would you or would you not be richer right now if you just threw it all in Pokemon?
If I threw it all in Pokemon, I would be significantly richer. If I didn't pay off my house early, if I quit my job earlier, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I think we both know that. Like, I did the same thing. I paid off my house. Every financial person says it's not the right move. And I don't know. So sometimes you just have to do things that are going to like give you peace of mind over worried about where every last dollar is going, I think.
And that's truly like, there is some relatively high % chance that my pallets outperform my tax advantage buckets. Like, I'm fully aware of that, but just like I'm good at math. I'm pretty like savvy in the finance space. I knew that paying off my mortgage early, I knew that paying off my mortgage early was like a financially stupid move, but still just, I'm not a huge fan of banks being debt free, the freedom to quit my job. And so I simultaneously force myself to fill my 401k, fill my IRAs, do all that first, while knowing that there's some reasonable % chance that my pallets beat it. But yeah. I'm not the risk on investor. I'm not the guy that's going to go all in and just throw caution to the wind. I have kids and stuff too, like more context around me. Thing. Yeah,
that's a huge like that changes everything. I think I think I would live a lot differently if I had kids, for sure.
And so simultaneously, and I saw it was Galaxy saying something about the fence. I'm seen as I live my life on the fence. I will simultaneously say that like there's some % chance that Destin will go under MSRP. The packs higher % chance than the booster boxes or the ETBs or whatever. But I'll also say that there's some % chance that Destin Rivals, before it turns 2 years old, will be $1,000 booster box. What is it today? 440, 430, 440. Like it both those things are true. And I do it to myself. I use Opus to clip my long form and I make it short form and I put it on YouTube. So I do it to myself. I take myself out of context for the content, right?
For sure.
And I post these engagement. I post these clips on Instagram and YouTube and saying Destin could go under MSRP. I think it will. But what's missed out of that is like it also could be $1,000 for all I know. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say they're equally likely, but
Trout, thanks so much for the super chat, man. Glad you're up right now. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, with the home thing too, it's just like, you know, every guru that talks about homes online and everything, they never, like the Grant Cardones and all that, they never talk about risk, right? It's like, well, I guess there's money markets out there that's, you know, if you had the same interest rate, like technically you could basically it'd be a wash or whatever. But like, dude, if your money's invested and you're like, well, you can always just take it out if you need the money. It's like, okay, let me throw you a scenario. You and your wife lose your job. The economy tanks. Because of that, the stock market tanks. So now what? Are you going to sell your investments 20, 30% down because you need money because you lost your job? You don't have any? Is that better than just having a paid off house and worry that you're not going to make the same percentage as you would have in the S&P? Like, there's a lot of things that play into it. It's not always cut and dry.
Yeah. And I know, like, I know the point you're making, and I think there's validity behind what you're saying, but I tend to caution a little bit more as far as like the whole, you bring up billionaires are concentrated. Diversification is for idiots, right? As Warren Buffett says. But he also says, like, too, the average investor is, relatively speaking, an idiot relative to Warren Buffett. So like, kind of like the same out of context thing. Like, diversification is for idiots. Take that clip, package it, put it out there. But the next breath is, most people are idiots. I'm an idiot when it comes to traditional stuff. So he goes on to say that most people should buy low cost index funds. So in that same statement, it's like, and that's the way that I go with traditional stuff.
Pokemon investors idiots as well.
And honestly, maybe this is pumping ourselves up a little bit too much. But I think guys like you and myself, like, I think we have the ability to set pick a little bit. We have the ability to be the Warren Buffetts of this space. Maybe that's pumping us up way too much. But one advantage that we get too, that kind of Warren Buffett has, he buys entire companies. He buys companies. He has the ability to buy entire companies. He has the capital to bully people around a little bit, if that makes sense. And in stocks, if we want to buy, we pay 100% of market.
That's it.
We pay the ask.
Yeah.
In this, we can buy at 90%. And we can sell for 100, 110%, maybe on a live stream. We can clip a margin without the underlying moving at all. So we definitely have massive advantages here that I utilize heavily, for sure.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the biggest like upside to it, is that we can buy 80, 85, 90% on things. And sure, like, there's fees, there's shipping, all that good stuff. But it's just like, it's, the reason Warren Buffett and guys like that in the stock market do so well is because that's what they engross themselves in. They have all the knowledge of it. Same thing with real estate guys. I feel like if you engross yourself in this hobby and you're spending like 60, 80 hours a week in it, you just get to know it where, you kind of are an expert or whatever that means. And you can kind of, again, you get a sense of the market, you get a sense of timing, you get a sense of like kind of print schedules. Obviously anything can always happen, but you just get a good sense of when to move in, when to move out of items, and how to really, take advantage of the swings in the market, I think.
Gather around, everyone. The Pokey Warren Buffetts are speaking.
Dude, the comments are going to be crazy.
I meant to say too. Yeah, I know. I'm not great when I'm on, well, especially when there's so much more people here than typically on my channel. But one thing that I meant to say too is, like, the whole diversification is for idiots or whatever. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm never going to be a billionaire. Survivorship bias exists as well. So yeah, damn,
big fence.
Always on the pump. Always on the pump.
The Danalytics. Oh yeah, dude. Coin term.
I've come to terms that I think that was Brian. That was Pokey NE that came up with that, right?
Yes,
I believe.
It was.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm never going to be a billionaire. I am too cautious to be that. I could be, hindsight being 2020. I could have foregone my employer match. I could have foregone everything. I screw the buckets. No 401k, no IRA, no paying off the house early. I could have $10 million in Pokemon right now. But survivorship bias, for every billionaire you see, for every Zuckerberg, for everyone that dropped out of high school, dropped out of college, went and became a billionaire, founded some company, there's a lot of hundreds of thousands for every one probably that didn't make it. And most of them are somewhere in between, and they're probably doing fine. But there's some of those, like maybe 10 times or 100 times for every billionaire. There are people that are destitute. There are people that are bankrupt. Yeah. Their wife left them, took the kids. Like there are people that go on something, and it turns out to be Beanie Babies, or it turns out to be whatever. And I'm not saying Pokemon is that, but like I'm never going to be that guy. I'm never going to be the absolute upside, but I'm never going to be the downside either.
Well, the input thing too, like how much you're inputting, like it's the same way there. It's just like, I've made up my mind that I'm not going to beat people that choose to outwork me. Like if people are truly working from sun up to sundown, like every waking hour of the day, and they're working 7 days a week, every week, I can't beat that. Like I don't have that much in my life to give to it. Like I'm going to give everything I can, but if someone's going to outwork me, they're going to outwork me. And I'm going to say you get to be okay with that at some point, I think.
That's something that I said Monday too, is like, I live in my this universe, this reality. I'm 35. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. My family comes before my finance. Like
100%.
obviously, I have the bare essentials. If I was one of those households across the country that was paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't have if I didn't have the money to feed my kids, finance would come before them, right? Because that would be intertwined with family, like having the finances to provide for them. I'm far exceeding that. So I mentioned in my video Monday, if I was in this market today as a 22-year-old fresh out of college, making 55 grand as a chemical engineer, I would quit my job and I would be working 100-hour weeks in Pokemon. That's not my reality today, so I'm not doing that. But like I'm like fairly foot off the gas. I'm at that point in my journey. I've got a lot of independent contractors kind of that I'm facilitating, and I'm going to do what I can do to not slow them down at all. But there's a lot of opportunity that I'm not seizing because I'm choosing to hang out with my family more.
Well, let's take that right there, because there's a lot of people in here that are at that space, whether they're 22 or 30 or whatever, and they're having that conversation with themselves or their families. What would you do if you were jumping in and you were going to give those 100-hour weeks? Like, what route would you take jumping in this hobby right now?
Yeah, and I don't know if you watched my video Monday or not, but jokingly,
everyone here may not have.
The first 5 seconds of the video, I talk to the camera. Usually I'm looking at my screen or whatever. I talk to the camera. I'm like, quit your job today.
Yeah.
Sell Pokemon cards full time. Like, I think everyone understands that we're booming, but I think not everyone fully appreciates it. 5 years ago, you probably remember, you've alluded to these in your live streams recently. Back when we used to have the debates, back when we used to have the conversations, kind of missing some of that. Remember how there used to be a debate? Like, is anyone making $100K a year in this space? You remember when that was a question? And a lot I was one of those people.
I think a lot of people weren't back then.
A lot of people weren't, but I was one of those people that were, and there were a lot of them. There were dozens of us, if hundreds of us probably. These days, I was making $100K then. I know more people today making 2 or 3 or 5 or more times that than I knew making $100K then. Like we are booming in a different way. Each boom had their own different characteristics, but this one is so much more broad. This one is so much more like the entire hobby has just elevated. The institutional type money, the fanatics being in the space now, eBay, Golden, like that whole thing, PSA having a lot more fleshed out back from where they were then. But going back to that, in this market today, I am so bearish in many ways. So bullish in so many ways. I would have quit my job instantly. I would have quit my job 1 year, like fresh out of college, 4-year degree in hand, diploma, $55,000 a year engineering job that I worked my last 15 years for schooling. I would have quit my job to do this full time, and I would have made so many multiples more. And you asked what angle. I've done every angle over the past 12 years. I've been full time since 2021, going on 5 years. I've done vending. I've done PSA, CGC, BGS. I've done eBay. I've done Fanatics, Troll and Toad Evo. I've done it all. It's not reasonable with no name, with no anything that I could jump in to the shoes that I'm wearing now, right? Like now I have the independent contractors. I have the relationships with the platforms. So say I came in with some money, with some knowledge, with some experience, but no like street cred, I guess, no name. I would probably go the vending route. I would probably hit vending very, very hard. And in the background, like outward looking, I would create content around vending, vendor POV. I would try to I would try to get some kind of a following built up around that. Yeah. And I would buy it 80% and I would sell it 100%. That is tried and true. That exists in every market. I've been doing that for 12 years. Buy at a low percent, sell at a higher one. And my main engine for that would be vending. If and when vending didn't pan out well, I would try the live streaming angle, potentially getting the vending, getting the socials following. You can pivot that into live streaming. You can pivot that into anything, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I considered doing the vending content too, like, a year ago when everyone was blowing up. And, again, I think it's just knowing your like limits, knowing what's like you enjoy. And it's just like, it wasn't for me. Like, I'm not a big traveler. I tried vending once. I just wasn't fun for me. Like I would have been forcing it. And I think that would have came out in the content. Yeah. So like, Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think everyone should just kind of try a little bit of everything and find out what works best. But yeah, Dan's right. Like, I don't know where else you get access to that amount of product without vending. I mean, maybe you can just scour the Facebook groups, Instagrams, Discords, all that, the buy sell trades. Other than that, it's so hard to get product nowadays. You can't get sealed. Like, it's very hard to get sealed. And so, I mean, yeah, the vending makes sense unless you want to try to, get into the importing of foreign products, which that's very competitive now. It's like you said, it's just the vendings there, that margin's always there. And then you can, kind of piggyback grading into that as well and start, kind of giving some different arms. But
yeah, and occasionally you're gonna get people offering you things that don't optimally sell for you at your booth or whatever. And maybe you go vend. You don't even bring inventory. You just bring cash and you just buy. You just have a buying table.
There's a lot more of those just blank tables at shows now.
And the same way that I do it now, even like I offer a consigning service through Fanatics, but occasionally I have cards that I think this will do better on eBay. I send it to Z&G Emporium. I send it to DC Sports. I send it to these various places. So if I were vending in that alternate reality, I would vend and I would go to shows and I would buy. And occasionally you're going to have something knock on your door that like maybe it's not optimal for you. And I promise you, and I know you run into this too. I tell people like, hey, if you sell to me, this isn't really in my wheelhouse. I'm literally just going to consign it with DC Sports 87. And then it's like, just consign with them. I tell them to consign with them. And they say, no, I don't like auctions. I don't like this, that. Well, then I'll offer you 80%. Like you'll get more. And then they sell to me for 80%. It's like, so there's times where I like try to decline some inventory, try to decline some business. And then it still comes in and I just send it to DC and I make 5%, 10% net or whatever.
Well, here I think one of the barriers, right, that like me and you and people who have been in the hobby for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, they've done large transactions. They have a lot in Pokemon. I think it comes second nature to us, but other people are like, well, hold on a second. So I just put like $5,000-$10,000 of stuff in this box, and I just put my name and email and address, and I just send it to this company and cross my fingers. Yeah. Kind of like. And some people are like, no, I'm not doing that. I'll sell it to you. You make the money. Then I got to worry about the auction, how the auction is going to go. I'm out. And I get it. Like but you know what? People that complain about people paying 80%, it's like, well, that's a service you provide though. You provide them 100% sure thing. They're getting paid. You don't talk about auctions. Don't got to worry about, like having to, send your items to a consignment service all scared and stuff. So I get it both ways. I really do.
Yep. I actually, my part of why my week was so busy this week, I'm in New York. I'm in upstate New York near Syracuse. I drove down to New Jersey. I picked up 2 collections. It wouldn't have fit in any of my vehicles. I called up my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, what's going on Wednesday? You want to go on a road trip with me? We took his pickup truck. He has a 16-foot enclosed trailer, and we picked up 2 big collections in New Jersey. I spent $137,000 on 2 collections in New Jersey. So I cashier's check to one, ACH to the other.
What did it kind of consist of?
The same day. It was 80% modern sealed. There was a little bit of like vintage singles and slabs at one of the 2. Some niche sealed that I'll do on like live streams and stuff, but in my mind, it's like some of that stuff is going to the pallets, long-term, medium-term investments, speculations. Some of it is immediately going to DC. Some of it's immediately going to Golden. Some of it's immediately going to Ponga or PK or the eBay live streams or the Fanatics live streams. So I have a home for all of it, basically.
Did you ask either one of them like why they were selling?
A little bit. So funny story. My dad's truck actually broke down at the first deal, which was crazy. The starter, like, just a wire had broken, so it didn't start. There was a Napa down the road, so I ended up like hanging out for an hour longer than I expected with the first guy with the first deal. And shout out to Evan. I don't know if he's gonna be listening to this, but good dude. We kind of talked. I heard a little bit about his background. I heard a little bit, not really anything I would want to share though. So I know a little bit like as to why they were selling. The second one, he posted in your Discord. So that one I'm more comfortable sharing because that one's like already semi-publicly.
The regular or the Patreon?
L Dubs it was. L Dubs in the Patreon.
Okay, yeah.
But he basically said like for the most part it's just liquidity to buy new things essentially. So a lot of that's going back into Pokemon. Yeah. Is what it sounded like.
Yeah. So no one said they're selling it all for one piece.
I didn't hear the selling it all for one piece from either of them. No.
That's the normal thing that people are saying nowadays, at least in the comment section.
Oh yeah.
You know, in between all of the pumping some random crypto coin, there's a lot of I'm selling everything to go to One Piece type stuff.
I feel like I've heard that more as like a meme than in actuality, but I've heard from people who vend like nearly every weekend, and that's genuinely a thing that's going on right now. Some people are just chasing the hype, chasing the dollar. Yeah.
Hey, this is a really good question. Why do you think? Funny how Dan's considered a bear with all the moves he makes in the market and the collection he picks up. Do you think you're considered a bear because of some of the caution that you throw? Because I've always said this for years. I said Dan is he's like a bear in public, but like in private, he's the most bullish person I know in the hobby. So do you think it's just because you're so like cautionary on your channel about stuff?
I think there's a lot of different ways I could take the answer to this question, and I'll cover like a couple of them. But some people out there are truly irrationally exuberant.
For sure.
There are some people that truly think that there is zero chance. I'm talking zero guaranteed. Destined Rivals booster boxes can never go below 400. Some people believe that as a true statement. So I get painted as a bear because there's a chance they go sub MSRP. There's a chance they go sub 100. The lower the number, the less likely I think it's going to happen. But I would attribute a 20-30% chance booster boxes of Destined Rivals go sub MSRP. Oh, sorry, sub 200, sub 200. But I was around. I was around when people guaranteed that are still around today. People guaranteed Vivid wouldn't go below 200. People guaranteed Roaring Skies wouldn't go below 300 when it was 300 X amount of year or months after release. That got reprinted. So I've been through times where people guaranteed things and then were horrifically wrong. I'm not guaranteeing that it will.
Right.
People are very bad with nuance. Yeah. I say it could, and people hear Dan is saying this, Dan is saying that. And frankly, a lot of people get really emotional and they get really scared because they have a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to pick on any names or anything, but I've seen a couple of people saying, like, should I buy Destined Rivals booster boxes? I never care what people do. I never tell people what to do. I tell people what I'm doing and why, but I'm not touching Destined Rivals booster boxes at 400 because the way that I think about things, I like the upside and the downside better of something like 151. Maybe Sunday, the whole Target 360 drop. Maybe that's going to be 10 million units.
I think it's already debunked. I think it's not even happening.
I think it is. I was very tongue-in-cheek, very memeing there. But I think two things. I think simultaneously, I think the odds of 151 doubling from today's price are higher than the odds of Destined Rivals doubling from today's price. And I think the odds of it having are lower than the odds of Destined Rivals having. And that's where, pre-chat, I said I'm going to get you like on my side a little bit. I think we are two reasonable, rational, logical people in this space. I think we're doing business at a high level. Don't you agree with both those statements?
Yep.
Well, like, as of today's pack price, 151 is more likely to double, and it's less likely to have.
Yeah, I would. The only thing I would like change is I put it really low possibility of MSRP on a booster box on Destin, just because of the price. It's already like established. Like dropping in half is one thing, but like, dude, from like what is that 440 now, dropping all the way to MSRP. I put that like in the low single digit percents, in my opinion. Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance.
I'm always fine with people having different percentages, but for someone to utter the words guarantee over something that it hasn't had its birthday yet, it's still a newborn baby. It's not even Destined Rivals is not walking yet. Like, what are we talking about? Destined Rivals is not yet walking, and people are guaranteeing, and they might be right in that, like, it might not go below 400. I agree, it might never go below 400 again. But it definitely could. It definitely could. Yeah. And it's a little scary that people think like it can't and say it does. And if sometimes people have pushed back at me, Dan, how could that happen? What like we could have with or without broader market things, but say the whole, not to get political, say the whole Greenland tariff, this, that. Say the EU decides we're gonna dump $5 trillion of treasuries. U.S. treasuries, because we don't like what the U.S. leadership is doing. What do you think that does to the broader markets? The broader markets could have some big things, and very quickly, we within 6 months, we could see Destined Rivals sub 200 a box, sub MSRP a box. I hope we don't. I don't think we will that quickly, but they're printing they've had a history of printing things for 2 years, and a lot of things can change in 2 years. Like the people saying this with confidence, what's going to happen in 14 months from now weren't here 14 months ago. And you were here 14 months ago, and I was here 14 months ago. Guys like Brian were. Brian bought a pallet of Paradox Rift for like $80 a box. Like the people that are saying all these things disproportionately have no clue what they're talking about, and they haven't seen anything except for everything being double MSRP out of the gate. So just be careful out there, is all I'm saying.
The
like,
151,
be a little cautious.
The 151 example, I mean, I think it's obvious. Like, to me and you, it looks obvious. Like, yeah, I mean, the chances of 151 dropping in half are exponentially lower than Destin dropping in half. And yeah, the upside's so much greater because it's going out of rotation, and Destin Rivals has years in rotation. Like, the better comparison to me right now at the current prices would be 151 or Prismatic. I mean, I know you have your numbers, dude. This week alone, we've ripped another 800 packs of Prismatic. Like, the amount of Prismatic that still gets ripped, even at the current prices, and the amount that they have printed that set, it feels like more than any set ever. I just don't see a world where in a year and a half, 2 years, when it's already out of rotation, that set is not just going to explode. I mean, it's the most expensive pack ever. Like, that Umbreon is more expensive than Umbreon VMAX, harder to grade. I don't know. I don't see a word like that. I think that's a better question. Is like, is 151 going to be better in the next 3 years, or is Prismatic? I don't know, because Prismatic's half the price.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, like, ask me any question you want and I'll answer it. I am an open book. I'm transparent. And I'm one guy. I've been wrong on a lot of things before, and I'll be wrong on a lot of things in the future, but I'm right more than I'm wrong. I think a lot of people get so like tribal over these things too. Like, Destin Rivals my baby. It's my main holding. Like, this guy's talking like it could go down. I hold Destin Rivals too. I have 4 cases. I don't know. I set some back because I don't know. But
by the way, if you want to, it's fun when you do that. When you make a video and you say one way or the other, you'll get everyone that owns the stuff in the comments pissed at you. You'll get everyone that doesn't own the stuff all like, yeah, it's gonna go down. I'm gonna pick up a bunch. It's really, you can really see it in the comments.
People get very tribal, and my position has always been: ask me a question about any set, I will tell you exactly how much of that set I hold. I will tell you if I'm buying, selling, whatever I'm doing with it. Like, I just don't care. So Destin Rivals, I have a few thousand loose packs. I think the loose packs are going to get cheaper. So like, I need to have it in stock because I run live streams. We rip packs on eBay, Fanatics. I need to have it.
I mean, Destin's
I'm not going to have zero.
Most open set.
Yeah, Destin is up there for me too. So like, I have to have it. And I know it might never get cheaper, but right now I have 3,000 loose packs and I have 4 cases. Like that's it, my entire Destin holdings, pretty much. If and when I start being right, if and when it approaches $5 a pack, $4 a pack, I'll have 10 or 12,000 packs of it. I'll have 15,000 packs of it. I will increase my holdings proportionally if and when the prices go down. And if they don't, I'm not afraid of missing out, because if Destin goes to 20, I'll just buy it for 16 and sell it for 20, just like I do with everything else. Like, this is not emotional for me. I think a lot of people get really like to me, I'm just arbitraging. I'm just buying, selling, buying, selling. I can do that at a higher price or a lower price.
I think people with less capital and less skin in the game, it's a lot more emotional, because every little move
significantly,
it affects your psyche, it affects your portfolio. It's a very big thing. Whereas like, once you start getting a lot of inventory built up, it's like if one set drops, you're like, well, I don't care. Like, I made money on all these other sets. I'll dollar cost average in, I'll buy more, So I do understand newer people being a lot more affected by little, moves. And if one set like that's like one of their main holdings, and, they bought it when it came out at 220 a box or whatever, and now they're up double. I understand them being, pushing back a lot when someone says something bad about it. So I do get it. But I think anyone that stays in the hobby and is consistent for a couple of years, and you build out other positions and you're having like losses and gains, I think it kind of wears away slowly but surely.
Yeah. And,
I would hope so.
And going to Prismatic, like, I understand the set value and the God pack, and we rip more Prismatic than anything on our streams.
Everyone I talk to does. I think it's like unanimously across every streamer, it is the most rip set.
Yeah, the only people that I've talked to that's not the case for, it's because like they didn't have it in stock for 3 months or something, or whatever the case may be.
Well, think about this. Think about this. Pokemon literally put out a statement about how they're going to print it and to demand and all that stuff, right? So they put that statement out. They proceeded to print like every product you could think of under the sun with prismatic packs. Like they have done what they said they were going to do, and it just still hasn't been enough. Like they're going to run out of time at this point in a year and a half.
Yeah, and I know like Crown, and this is something that I was saying at the time too. I Crown way outperformed my expectations, as most things in the Pokemon hobby have. But a year ago, people were pressing me like, Dan, how much prismatic are you going to invest in? How much should I buy at 14 a pack? I have this anecdote that I'm going to share forever. I had a buddy from high school who heard about the prismatic hype, and he went to Target, he went to Walmart, he went everywhere. He couldn't find it. He's like, Dan, can you sell me some prismatic? I said, yeah, I can sell it to you, but like I really don't want to. And because he wanted a little bit of everything. He wanted to get back into the hobby. He wanted to engage with it all. And I said, not financial advice, blah, blah, blah. But I have Crown Zenith that I can sell you for $4 a pack. Simultaneously, I was selling prismatic on stream for 15 a pack, and I was selling Crown on stream for like $5.50. I think 9-pack lots were $45. Not even $5.50 a pack, like $5 a pack. And people were buying more prismatic than Crown at the time. It's like,
it's Ascended Heroes.
Do whatever you're going to do. Everyone here is an adult. They can all make their own decisions. And frankly, like, I don't care what they decide. I'm never trying to influence people to do certain things. I'm not trying to like pump my bags or anything. I'll always tell you what I have. But I was buying Crown. I was buying Crown on net. I was selling prismatic on net. And I'm happy to have done that. And there's certain things that I could have bought that were better, and certain things that I could have sold that dropped, whatever. But like prismatic as of today, I still think it's more likely than not going to be available at MSRP per pack. Maybe not the ETBs, maybe not, like, I don't know. But I think in the future, there will be a Sea and Sky equivalent for prismatic. I think there's already been a couple through Costco. Yeah. I think they're going to hit a lot of that over the next year and a half. And if I'm wrong, again, I'll tell you exactly what I have today. Today I have about 7,000 packs of prismatic. Like, if it does go to 5, I'm going to get 20,000 packs or something. I'm going to get 20 or 25,000 packs or some crazy amount of packs.
See, I guess that's where I always like to question you. Like, why do you hold such heavy positions in things that you don't believe in?
Because that's not a heavy position. So here's context. We opened, I'm a big data guy. We opened 25,000 packs of prismatic last year.
Yeah.
7,000 packs? That's barely, that's
well, that was release and everything. Like, obviously
it was. So we're not opening at that pace now. But the way that I see it is like simultaneously, I know that I could be wrong.
You think you're going to be out of them at a profit before you're re-upping more, is what you're saying?
The way my mind works is like, it's all percentages. There's some percent chance that I'm wrong. I'm not going to allow my inventory to go below 5,000 packs or something. Because like at any time, PokeRev could make a big video, Deep Pocket Monster could make a big video, and for some reason, maybe the new sets will kind of not be amazing. Prismatic could turn on like overnight. In my mind, I could just go back to instantly selling 3,000 packs a month at any drop of a hat, basically. So I'm not going to allow myself to have less than a certain amount of packs. And but if and when, like with Crown, when Crown was available for sub 4, market was 5. I was buying it for like $3.75 or $4 a pack. I got up to like 16,000 packs. And now I'm a year older, a year wiser, a year more capitalized. If and when prismatic gets there, I'm going to have 20 or 25,000 packs. If and when it doesn't, like if it gets down to, what's the lowest you've bought prismatic at so far? I was buying it for $6.50.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. Yeah, it was when those when one of those boxes came out. Yeah, it was like $6.25, $6.50 at the lowest. I would say the majority I bought up in like the 7 range.
Yeah, I bought thousands of packs then, but if and when, I think the buying pressure will rise. If and when the price starts lowering, I think the buying pressure will rise. I'll be part of that buying pressure. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I put my money where my mouth is. I place proportional bets based on the likelihood that I think a set will double over a given time frame, or the likelihood that I think a set will have over a given time frame. And so it's wild how worked up some people get over someone saying what they're doing, right? Some chat is wilding a little bit.
And who knows how worked up people are. I think a lot of it's just social media. Everyone just likes to pick sides and go back and forth.
Yes.
A lot of it's fun. But dude, I actually agree with you because I think we're on another risk on environment this year. Like, so I made a statement on me and Eli's podcast, like January last year. I said, I truly think you're going to be better off buying one of every box in Scarlet, Violet, Sword, and Shield right now than waiting a year and buying them then. And it worked out really well. And I'm going to say the same thing this January. I think you're better off buying one of every box at the current prices right now than waiting a year. Because even if some get reprinted, this and that, I think overall your portfolio will still be up in a year from now. Like, that's how I feel. So like when you say that about your packs, I agree. Like, I think you're better off being risk on. I think you're better off having Black and White, Prismatic, 151, Paldean Fates, Destined Rivals, all these sets, because yeah, some may get reprinted, some may go down, but in the meantime, I think majority of them are going to keep going up. You're going to continue to do better than you are going to lose. And I think just like it's almost like in the stock market being comfortable with red days. I think being comfortable with risk, like being comfortable saying, yeah, I may lose some money in some of these packs, but guess what? I'm going to make exponential amounts on all these, so I'm not going to care if I lose on some type thing.
Yeah. Again, like one thing that I say all the time is we're all in the same arena of Pokemon, but everyone's reality is very different. Some people are full-time. Some people are scalpers. Some people are collectors, flippers, investors. Like we all have these different labels and wear these different hats. And then I'm a full-time business that has 2 kids and a wife. And I have like, everyone's very different. Everyone has different time frames, has different ability to source through different areas. The one thing that I will say, Dan gets off his fence for certain things. If you are in this chat, and I know there's some of you, if you are in this chat and you are investing and you think you're making money in Pokemon and you're paying sales tax, stop it. Get some help. We need the Jordan gift to play. If you are paying sales tax, Arceus save you, because you are putting yourself so far behind. And sometimes Rudy says dumb things. I think Rudy says entry point won't matter. I've seen people say, oh, I'm paying sales tax, but I'm buying my Destined at $470, market price $430 plus 10% sales tax. When it's $3,000 a box, it won't matter whether I paid sales tax or not. That is moronic. That is all moronic. Please do yourself a favor. Get on, get above board. Go get your resale certificate. Stop paying sales tax. It'll help out the eBay sellers too, because like they have to pay final value fees on the sales tax that you pay, you dummy. Like, what are we doing? If you're a collector, if you're consuming all that stuff, like you're supposed to pay sales tax. But
anyone,
these people, disproportionately, people who think Destined can't go below 400, if you think Destined can't go below 400, you're probably paying sales tax when you buy that box, and you are a poor lost soul. Please help
right,
me help you.
I wanted to talk about one of those things we were texting about. We said stay keep for stream. God, man, I just had it, and I just thought when I laughed about that, I just forgot it. God, what were we talking about? We were talking about God dang it.
You said we were texting about it. I can browse through our text quick and see.
Let me go. I know we were talking about it, and we said keep it for stream. Something about like business. I don't know. I'll think of it. Because I did want to ask you about it, and I thought it'd be a good conversation. That's what it was. About like the buckets and stuff and like all the planning. So for you, it's so hard, right? Because you make so much exponentially more than what like your nest egg get, like what you need, your nut, and like all your like to max out your investments. But like for a regular person, right? Like you said, someone's young, starting out in the business, right? How would you plan? Like the reason like I push back on that is because if you don't have exponentially more income than it would take to max out your investments, this hobby throws stuff at you can't be like prepared for. Like random deals will pop up, random reprints, random like offers that you can make exponential amounts on. You can't do that unless you have cash in the bank. And a lot of times you have to forego investments sometimes to, make the plays or put money into things are going to do better. Like when all the Sea and Sky boxes dropped last year, whatever like that. So, like what were you doing when you didn't make the exponential amounts of money like you did now? Like, did you ever prioritize Pokemon like or the business or Pokemon like holding, or was it always just like straight the buckets first, Pokemon always comes second?
So I've only been maxing out my IRA and 401k since like 2019 or so. So it only predates me being full-time in Pokemon a little bit. And at some point I'm going to make a video detailing that more. But I said this in my video Monday, the one about like you might be, I forget what I titled it, something about like people are underestimating the opportunity in Pokemon right now.
Yeah.
If I was 22 in this market, if I was a bachelor, no wife, no kids, I would not be maxing my 401k. I would not be maxing. I would take employer match, but I would not max. I would put in 1%, get the free 5%, whatever. I would have the account open. But no, like hell no. That's people don't have like the brains to understand the nuance. So Dan today, 401k, IRA, all that stuff. But no, if I was 10 years younger, if I didn't have a wife and kids, there's my buckets that I always go. I got to show those. If I didn't have that, hell no, I wouldn't be maxing $20,000, $30,000 a year into my tax advantage accounts. I'm only doing that because of my life situation. Yeah. If I was 22, if I was 25, and I was single, I would be working 100-hour weeks. Every penny would be working for me. I would not be investing in anything. It would all be flipping. It would all be grinding. Another mistake that a lot of people make, a lot of people think they got it all figured out and they're going to do this, that, the other thing. They've got 50 hours free a week minimum, whether they're a student, whether they're working a job, or a lot of people have a lot of free time. You can work and go to school
at the same time?
Yeah. A lot of people talk about how busy they are, this and that, and then you ask them about, what TV shows are you watching currently? Oh, well, the girlfriend and I, the wife and I, the roommate and I, we finished these, and they'll list off like 17 series that they've watched on Netflix. It's like you say you don't have time, and then you've binge watched like 3,000 hours of TV. You were a professional TV watcher this year. I would be working 100-hour weeks. If I were 25, I would be putting only the bare minimum in my investment accounts. Every penny, like that Dan would be a force to be like that Dan would be grinding in this market. And that Dan would be like, there are people that are making 7-figure incomes, net incomes right now in the space. That Dan would have made, like, if I had access to all the capital, all the platforms, all the everything, I would have made 7 figures last year. That Dan in this market.
So what does make you like fearful or bearish, like at all? Like what does like scare you about like 2026? Nothing.
I mean, people scare me. People, like, I'm not scared for me.
So you're afraid of people that don't have the means, that getting over their head, that getting credit card debt. Like I get, like, so you, I mean, just like you said, there's so many people making 6 figures now. There's so many more well capitalized. Like, do you really think people that are making their way to like your channel are that, undercapitalized, or that, like, stupid is the way you put it? Like, or do you think a lot more people at this point are financially savvy and can take the risk and things like that?
This is going to sound a lot more mean than it is intended.
So you truly think there's too many people in this hobby that are still just like balls to the wall, credit card debt, 0% interest, let's go? Like,
I don't think that. I know that some people are. So it's like, we both know they exist. It's just what percent of the market is that? I could say a percentage, but like I don't know exact percentage. I think the percentage is higher than you probably think the percentage is.
But that's why you caution so much, is you think there's a lot of those people.
And one thing that I'll say too is that I'll say that there are some people that I think they should know better, that have been here for a long time, that are saying kind of crazy things, in my opinion, too. And what scares me is that a significantly higher percentage of people that like should know better think that Destined can't go to MSRP. I'm less scared of financially what it will do it going to MSRP, right? Like, I'll lose tens of thousands of dollars between the cases that I have, the packs that I have. I'm not scared about that. I'm scared how irrationally exuberant a large portion of the hobby is in general. That, like, I'll do it too, you'll do it, we'll do Crash, we'll do this, we'll do that. Like, the fact that we'll call Destined Rivals going to MSRP, a set that's not even a year old, the fact that so many people will see that as a crash, that scares me, because like consumer demand is fickle. There are people, from what's happened in the past 14 months, there are people projecting out into eternity. There are people saying $100 booster boxes are gone forever. MSRP is gone forever. Like, it's scary. If and when they start seeing how wrong they are, because they are wrong, it could fall apart quickly. Like, so
there's a possibility we never see $100 boxes again. I mean, you've seen your distro prices now. Like, all the distro prices are no longer in the 80s; they're in the hundreds. You know,
you said it in a way that I agree with. I agree with that. There are people guaranteeing there won't be. Those are two very,
especially if MSRP does get risen at some point to like 180 a box. Like, there's a possibility maybe we get down to like 110s, 120s.
I agree. Yeah. You're not guaranteeing it though. A lot of people are guaranteeing it. A lot of people guaranteed it. Like the guarantee is what loses me. And when people are that like irrational about it all, when people are that
it's sure of themselves,
when people get that sure, and again, I'm not calling Beanie Babies, Pokemon cards Beanie Babies, but people were that sure of that. People were that like, this stuff, the intrinsic value is zero. Consumer demand is very fickle. Think of your life. I'm 35. Think of your life 15 years ago. Pokemon was there. Yes, Pokemon existed 15 years ago. But think about day to day, like how different everything is. Like, what's 15 years in the future going to be like? Maybe Pokemon cards, maybe trading cards of any kind won't be a large part of that at all. I have no clue. Nobody knows. No. And then this is all like World War III, not even that drastic. But like, I promise you, if gold and silver and Bitcoin and the stock market, if all those things go down 30, 40%, Pokemon's not magically going to be perfectly fine as it is. Pokemon is going to feel that to some extent.
For sure.
So
mostly in the volume of sales and like the liquidity. You know, like, I mean, when everyone believes things are going to continue to be bad, continue to go down more, the offers start to go down, the auctions start to end lower. People aren't clicking on the buy it now because they know they can always wait for an auction and get the price lower. There's more plentiful supply out there. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a scare. I mean, it's what definitely worries me to an extent. Like, you know, I mean, luckily we've set ourselves up too, like, you know, with doing the stupid financial things, like paying off the house and things, but like to a point where it's like, yeah, we're never going to be like starving on the streets, but yeah, if Pokemon, you know, really does bad, like it would definitely screw up a lot of plans. Like, and you know, you think about like, what else would I be doing with my life then? You know, go get a different job, like all that stuff. So yeah, it does scare you to an extent that could happen.
Yeah. And again, I feel like I'm very bad at describing what I'm trying to say. Like, I have the idea in here and I just can't elaborate on it well. But I don't fear Destin Rivals going under 200 because, like, I'm a rational, logical person, and I know that there's some percent chance. And I'm saying Destin Rivals a lot because that's the one that, like, gets people the most fired up. Phantasmal, Journey Together, Mega Evolution, any of these sets. Some subset of people so strongly believe that they can't, that, like, I'm worried what happens to the market if and when their irrational confidence is shattered. Because I know those people. I sold those people $200 Vivid Voltage booster boxes, and then I bought from them $100 Vivid Voltage booster boxes. I've been down this road before. I know. Like, I sold those people $1,000 first edition Jungle Eevees. I sold those people $9,000 Shadowless PSA 9 Blastoises. I know how those people that think line only goes up go. And it's scary. I sell them at the stupid number and I buy back at a stupid low number and then see in 5 years. I'll do it again. Like, it's scary.
Back when I just started YouTube, right? We all had, like, you know, the debates, you know, obviously your streamer PK, you know, we had Jake Pokenomics, and there was who else was there? I mean, who are the people we used to have back then?
Pokenav used to have people on his channel.
And so we'd all have the conversations, right, about, like, you know, the hobby changing, right? And I think a lot changed, like around COVID time, around like, you know, just the way people accepted modern, the way like people like would transact modern, the volume done around it, the price points. And obviously since then we've seen everything kind of hold up. XY, Sun and Moon explode, Sword and Shield do very well when people thought it couldn't. Do you think we've reached a point where the hobby has just changed though, because of how ingrained business is, how ingrained like people have, you know, the belief people have in this stuff, the data we have to support it, the success everyone's seeing, which gives everyone like enormous confidence. Like, do you think that may have changed things where we just do see a like obnoxiously strong market for a long period of time, and the gains are just kind of diminished, kind of like an S&P index fund is, where everyone kind of agrees that like over time it goes up, but the gains are such smaller? Do you think we've come to a point where like the gains may just be smaller, but it just may be more trusted and stay more stable than it ever did in the past, and we might not have any of those wild swings like we used to?
I think that's the most likely outcome. Like, this is
It's
another
kind of
one
like
of
when you
those
see like a
things
stock,
where it's like
a perfect example. When you see a stock, when it becomes like it comes out of its like, you know, new growth phase in the beginning, right? It's all over the place, but then like it reaches like a level of sales and it starts paying a dividend, and there's a lot less of those. Like, do you think Pokemon may have been reaching that kind of state?
I think there's a high likelihood that like, and I agree that things have fundamentally changed from 12 years ago. Some people accuse me of, Dan's been in 12 years. He's been in too long. He's got too much memory from like this is, I agree things are different. I just don't agree with everyone to what extent they are different.
Yeah.
And I say this as somebody who would be rich beyond my wildest dreams. If everyone that's saying all these things is right, and if I retain my allocations, and I can't even imagine someone like Eli or someone like Brian or someone with like thousands of boxes. I only get a couple hundred boxes of every set as they come out. And
Only.
yeah, like not even quite a couple. It's like 150 to 160 depending on the set and depending on the timing or whatever. But
times are lean in the catch 'em all household, guys.
yeah, Pokemon and Distro and whoever else involved, they will not allow that to happen. They won't allow it to continue to be the case where I just get a $100 booster box that's worth 200. If and when that stays, MSRP will increase significantly, and or the markup Distro puts on it will increase significantly. But basically, if that stays, if that margin stays, Pokemon will find a way to bring more of it in-house.
Yeah.
Because when a Destined booster box sells for 400, Pokemon's not making anything extra on that. Maybe they're selling a higher percentage through PokemonCenter.com than they used to historically. Maybe they're garnering some of that. But if and when everyone's right and I'm wrong, then new MSRP will be 240, and I'll be buying from Distro for 180 within 5 years. If that's the case. Like, I think that's the way that it will go if I'm wrong. Like, if and when boxes never see 100 again, it will be because the hobby's grown that much and Pokemon takes more of the profit for themselves, and because they will do that. They will not exist for the next 20 years just letting everyone else make all that money, right?
What's your honest opinion on what's going on right now? Like, obviously Ascended Heroes, disastrous drop. Like, I mean, I know they announced some reprints coming of some bundles, collection boxes. I mean, I know we see some Charizard UPC showing up in stores. There's always like little Walmart drops here and there, but like, what do you think they're doing with, I mean, it seems like they're printing very little. They can't get sets out on time. Like, what's your opinion?
Ascended Heroes is a debacle. I haven't made my video for Monday yet, but I only do one video a week, and Mondays is going to be a good one. I'm not very much to get all rabble and emotional and carrying on Pokemon, but like, they are, what the hell are they doing? There's like, if things went as intended, there's 2 SKUs and they're 2-pack and 3-pack blisters. Like, that's a recipe for disaster from the beginning. Whoever had that idea, like, I don't know if it's like a 4D chess play, and I think maybe the play is to just confuse everyone and make people think and talk, and they're just getting like free publicity over the confusion, over the what I don't even know. I don't know how you can rationalize it.
Quilly Bear says with zero knowledge, they could be gearing up for 30th, ungodly amounts, maybe.
But like, they knew the 30th was coming for the past 5 years since the 25th, right? Like, obviously, they can do math. They knew 29 years ago that 1 plus 29 was 30. So they've always known the 30th anniversary was coming. They just didn't know if they were going to be there or not. but that doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like they've printed and navigated smaller booms than this over the past 30 years to some extent, and how they dropped the ball so bad. Pandemic 2021, 2020, that was more reasonable because like the world shut down, and things, shipping, logistics, that made more sense. But this is like, what are we doing, guys? And I know they got the 1 million square feet of facility onboarding over the next couple of years, but like, Pokemon, what are you guys doing? It's crazy.
I want to get your thoughts on this. All right, I'm gonna pull a screen up.
Okay.
Do you think this number, when it's released, is going to be higher, lower, or around the same this year?
Higher. It's going to be a record high. Like, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm going to say 95 to 99% certainty it's going to be above 12 billion.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I mean, I want to think that, but then I think like, I'm thinking back in like 23, 24, all those reprints we would get in Sword and Shield, and I'm just like, and then the amount of product they printed early Scarlet Violet, and I'm just like, man, it feels like we were getting more product back then. I mean, I think it might. I think it could. Here's my thoughts are. I don't 100% know, but like, if they don't, if that number doesn't break 11.9, if it's somewhere between 10 to 12, dude, I think Scarlet Violet era is going to be one of the best plays you can make, especially the early 2 blocks. Like when I look back at like the Sun and Moon block, it's another like time I was thinking about, like, you know, the mid block, the Ultra Prism, Forbidden Light, Celestial Storm, Lost Origin, or Lost Thunder. Those times, they're all like high teen boxes, and they were all just like, no one really cared about those sets. They didn't have the tag teams, you know, the Burning Shadows, the Rainbow Rares were already a thing. It was just kind of, I don't know. It's amazing to see how well those have done. And the only reason I could think of is, well, they just didn't print enough due to the demand. And now it's just like the demand's higher than ever. Everything's getting ripped more than ever. If they don't exponentially print more than they did back when the demand wasn't like this, how could this stuff not be scarce in the future?
And this is how, like, I made a video in a few weeks ago. I forecasted my guess for what they will tell us in June for fiscal 2025 was 14.5 billion. I think they printed 10-15% more. And I truly think, I mean, and I have good evidence to support why that's my presumption. I think they're going to be printing 25-30 billion cards a year in 4, 5, 6 or 8 years, let's say 4 to 8 years from now. They're bringing on 1 million square foot of new print facility. So it's like, I'm bullish. I always say short plastic, long cardboard. I think this stuff has very attractive asymmetric upside. It's one of those things. Like, I think a lot of times 2 people can agree on like 90% of some subject matter, and then you can either choose to like talk about the 10% that you disagree on in some respectful debate way, or you can like divide and like us versus them. Those people, the 10% that we disagree on, we are
dare I use the word cabal?
Yeah, like I think some people get very like the people in chat that are getting like aghast over me saying Destin could go sub 300, sub 200, sub MSRP, whatever. We probably agree on 90% of stuff when it comes to like sealed Pokemon investing in the upside, and we disagree a little bit in the short term on the downside. And I think like if you guys were more experienced and had more time, and you would probably realize that demand is just so fickle. Demand is so fickle. Things are a certain way until they're not anymore. And actually, one thing I wanted to bring up too about like your early days in YouTube. I went back a couple of weeks ago and I was looking at old videos.
Here we go. I knew he was going to hit me with it. I knew it.
It's not a gotcha whatsoever. It's I'm going to take your side on a couple things.
Okay.
Remember ETBs? ETBs were the gold standard for a while. There was a 1-2 year period where ETBs were the gold standard. Booster boxes got reprinted. ETBs never did. They never did until they did. And then, so I've been in here 12 years. Over the 12 years, there's been times where booster boxes got reprinted, and there's been times where they didn't get reprinted. And like currently, the current sentiment, the past 12 months, we don't really get booster box reprints. That can change anytime they want to make it change. That's why I pump the brakes a little bit. Like, ultimately, I don't care. Buy all the Destiny you want. Put your entire net worth, 10 times leveraged, if you can find a way to do that, into Destiny Rivals booster boxes. I don't care, honestly. Like I don't want people to like. But I'm not comfortable with that myself.
The sickening part about that is I still think you could do that, and in 5 years you'll be happy.
Like, maybe, but that's beyond again.
I think a million things can happen in the meantime, but I think in 5 years, Destiny will probably be, $1,000, $2,000 a box.
I think Pokemon will outlive everyone here in this chat today. And hopefully we all live, whatever your age is, 100 minus whatever your age is. Hopefully we all live long, happy, healthy lives. And I think Pokemon will outlive us. But I also know that it might not. It might not, too. It's made it to 30. It more than likely will make it to 50. And it could make it to 100. But I just don't know, and I'm not comfortable placing bets that large. And as I was saying too, it's like that was the sentiment of the time, was that ETBs never got reprinted, and some people invested heavily in ETBs because they never get reprinted. And then there was a multi-year period where they unleashed ETBs like mad, and for all we know, that could happen over the next 12 months. They might flip a switch again. As of today, it is objective statement of fact that they are not really reprinting booster boxes until they decide to. They're the single most easy SKU to create. They are the
so weird.
Like they are the single
I
most
guess
easy
maybe it's
print.
because they didn't have bundles back then. Maybe that's the new SKU that's easy to create. I don't know.
I don't think booster bundles could be logistically easier than literally the most tight, the most compact, the most like.
Yeah, maybe it's because they're like universal, like they're good for card shops, big box stores, vending everywhere. It's a good price point. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, but I would just say, and people get very like, and this is only a subset of people. When I say people, I'm not talking about all people. Some subset of people just get really honed in and laser focused, tunnel vision on one thing. And here's another analogy, like towards your past back catalog. Charizard UPCs, like people need to call something good or bad. And people don't really think like it can be good and bad relative to the price that it's at. You were pumping the brakes on Charizard UPCs at 250, 200 pre-order. One day they eventually went sub 100. Yeah, like you and I actually talked privately, and we both bought a bunch of them. And then like, hey guys, like this is a pretty reasonable value. Like I'm buying a lot of them. I'm not trying to pump my bags. I just think relative to everything else on the market today, it's a pretty good buy. And people call you a flip-flopper. Like that's how unnuanced, unintelligent subset of the peanut gallery is. It's kind of maddening at some point. What does it is what it is.
What doesn't excite you in the market right now? Like what you say you bought those collections. What kind of stuff are you liking like right now at the price points that you're like okay putting away?
Yeah, I don't love hardly anything at today's pricing. Generally, like I'm a seller, I'm a net seller. I love the liquidity, I love the market volume. So I'm trying to just buy, sell. Right. I haven't made the video yet, but in May, my original palette will turn 2 years old. I'll do a recap video and I'll show you everything I added the palette for in that video. It's not, by the way,
special, I believe it's the video, special little like Easter egg on that video. Isn't that the one you got the comment from Rudy on?
Oh, I forget which one. I think that was one of the follow-up ones in the weeks after.
It was but yeah, Rudy, I see you.
Yeah, and it was funny because somebody messaged me and said Rudy commented on your video, and I remember I think his actual channel name is like
Alpha Investment 69. Even I thought it was a troll account.
69 or 420 or whatever. So I saw the comment. I replied to it, assuming it was some troll or whatever. I didn't say anything like mean or whatever, but I just kind of like memed back or whatever. And then I come to find out like it was actually Rudy. I clicked on it and it goes to the channel, 300,000 subscribers or whatever it was. That was crazy. But no, I don't love anything. I haven't loved anything over the past year, and obviously I've been wrong in some way. Well, a year ago I loved Crown Zenith at 4. I loved up until June maybe. I loved 151. I was buying 151 at 9 a pack. I loved it then. I was buying a lot of 151 at 9 a pack. But I like SV1 through SV4. I like Sword and Shield. So the main things that I've added this year, and I'm not adding them like some of both of our viewers. Some people are adding them at 110% of market. I'm adding them at 80 to 90% of market. So
Yeah.
I like adding. That's what blows my mind. Like, I have the ability to buy Destined Rivals at 90% of market for cases, for boxes, whatever. There are people that love it at 430 plus tax. I don't even like it at 380 out tax.
Yeah.
Like that's where the disconnect is just crazy. But I am the main things that went on the pallets were Sword Shield cases, SV1 through SV4 cases, because Sword Shield booster boxes not getting reprinted again. SV1 through SV4 extremely likely not getting printed again. So they're probably not going to be. There will be certain things in SV5 through ME2 or 3 that probably outperform what I buy. But like on average, I'm expecting pretty good returns.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's what I figure you were gonna say. It makes the most sense. I mean, what about like further back? Do you think like Sun and Moon and XY are even like smart at this point with how high they are? Like, do you think the diminishing returns are going to starting at this point?
I put on net relative to a year ago today. I've added 6 figures of XY and Sun and Moon. So I've added a fairly substantial portion. Not for the pallets though. I not that I think they're too good for that or not good enough for that. I like the variety for the live streams. I always have had in stock Sword Shield base to current, all packs available, all times. I had the opportunity, and that's what a lot of it is too. I
so
like
you're talking packs.
Some packs, some boxes, but no cases.
But boxes for box breaks. Like, are you talking about holding it sealed or to break them on stream?
Oh, they're all going to be sold on stream. Okay. They're not being held intentionally like long-term or anything. But I probably bought $100,000 worth of Sun and Moon that I still have today that's going to be sold at some point. Like I dollar for dollar, if I have to put 50 grand into Destined Rivals or Sun and Moon or X and Y or Sword and Shield, like I would pick everything over Destined Rivals. I could be wrong, and Destined Rivals could outperform a lot of those, but I really don't like it at today's price.
Yeah, I don't know where the ceiling is on this stuff. Like, you know, I loved XY Sun and Moon stuff a couple years ago. Loved it. Like, I made tons of videos about it. And I get asked nowadays, like, why I don't make a lot of videos on it. I'm just like, it's hard to be attracted to things that are already multiple thousands of dollars. And the top box is already $10,000. And I'm just like, maybe they go to 20,000. Maybe Cosmic goes to 10,000. Like, but I don't know. It just seems like at a certain point, the returns are going to start diminishing and they're going to be kind of like more of that like stable blue chip thing. And like the intense growth phase is going to be over. Like, this is how I feel about it. Like, do you feel that way at all? Or do you think they still have like a lot of growth left?
Again, so I said a few minutes ago, I said that I really think it's more likely than not. I think that they'll be printing 25 billion cards a year, like more than doubling the amount of cards they're printing a year in the coming years, whether that's 2030 or 2035 or
yeah.
So I think in that scenario where that happens, it's like every time it's happened, you and I have both been here since XY. In XY, people said XY was printed too much and it's not going to perform like the past ones because it's printed too much. And then in Sun and Moon, they said it about XY or that. And then in Sword Shield, they said it on and on. I think it's relatively likely that Scarlet and Violet era will be looked at in 5 years the way that we look at sets from 5 years ago today, because I think we will again. And to be fair, like we from when Sun and Moon came out, they were printing at the time 2 to 3 billion cards a year. Right. So we've already 5 to 6x production.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get to 50, 60, 70 billion cards a year. For us to look back on Scarlet Violet today, we would likely have to be printing 50, 60 billion cards a year.
Not necessarily.
Right? I know what you're going to say here, and I agree too. To some
the attrition, yeah.
I mean, the live streaming. Live streaming is more ubiquitous today. Yes.
I mean, dude, I don't even remember. I mean, there was like Darium's Pokemon. Darium's Pokemon was like the big thing on YouTube. Yep. They would do like 1,000 pack rips and new sets, and people thought it was insane. There was no one else on YouTube doing it. It was crazy. And like, yeah, there was card shops doing mass box openings, but like, dude, 1,000 packs that gets ripped in like a night now. And, you know, when you go back and look at the numbers print, like you said, well, 2 billion cards, it's 5x. It's like, dude, 5x. We've like, I don't know, 50x the opening though. So I don't know.
And look at the pops. Look at the pops. The pops show you, unless there's some backdoor sheets of Moonbryons being printed going right to PSA. When you see that the PSA pop of a Moonbryon is 15,000, that means that 15 million to 30 million packs were ripped, right? Whether you think it's a 1 in 1,000 pull rate or a 1 in 2,000 pull rate. So the stuff is being opened, barring tinfoil hat conspiracies that I've heard people say before. Simultaneously, multiple things are happening at once. It's a multivariable equation, and there are more unknowns than we have the ability to solve for, right? Simultaneously, more packs are being ripped than ever, but also simultaneously, I think more people are investing than ever. 10 years ago, I was setting back 1 or 2 cases of every set. These days, I'm setting back several, right? Like I have SE1 through SE4. I have 10 to 20 cases of most of those. I have 10 times the amount invested in, but I'm ripping 50 times more. So I'm ripping more to offset the amount that I'm investing. But what is the average participant in this phase doing? I don't know the answer to that. Nobody knows the answer to that exactly.
Dude, I remember. I mean, I still remember buying my first case. Like I remember Evolutions was my first case of booster boxes. And it was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a whole case. Like it was so cool. And like, yeah, like you said, like then you have positions of like 10, 15, and 20 cases. And it's a lot, right? But then you start thinking, when you're a streamer, you're like, well, okay, 36 packs a box, 216 a case. So 10 cases is like 2,000 packs. Like I just went through 5,000 packs this week. And you're like, man, maybe these positions aren't as big as I thought. Maybe all these people who have cases in their closet, it's not as big of a deal because of the way ripping is. So like, I go back and forth. I'm with you. There's so many parts of the equation.
Yep. And I think more people need to realize, and more people need to say, like, I don't know more often. I know it's more boring. It's not as exciting, but that is the reality. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But something really bullish, and I know it scares some people. I think you should have, if you're investing in $400 booster boxes of Destined Rivals, I understand why you're more scared. But when I hear that Pokemon is putting $1 million of new production facility in the coming years, that makes me more bullish on the hobby. I would be scared if I had a ton of Mega Evolution and Phantasmal and Destined Rivals. I would be a little bit scared, even though some of that's not coming on board till 2028. But for me, my Sword Shield, my 151, my Crown Zenith, my SV1 through SV4, that stuff was only 12 billion cards a year printed, right?
Yeah.
If and when we start printing 30 billion cards a year, that's bullish.
Johto Jake in the house. What's up, man? Damn, which bucket do I place my Destined Rivals booster box in? Cheers, fellas. This chat has me stressed out. I haven't been paying attention to the whole chat. What are you guys seeing? Are people going crazy? I've been engrossed in conversation. I'll have to pay attention to chat more. Oh, by the way, Zuko, thank you for the super chat too, dude. Ask Dan if he's gotten any 143 sleeved cases. Oh yeah, dude. I got a whole shipment from Eli of Phantasmal Flames, and every sleeve booster case had 143 packs.
Oh, I heard about that in your thing on Monday.
Ripped off
was I just lagging out a little bit?
Here and there.
Was I just lagging out a little bit or no?
Here and there, it's not bad.
Okay. Sorry for that. That must just be my internet. But I haven't opened any to verify, but I thought that was funny. I guess Pokemon's going to try to increase the production capacity by skimming some packs here and there, maybe.
That's hilarious. Man, so everything's going good, though, man. I mean, business is solid. Are you you think you're working more this year or more last year? Have you winded down at all?
All of last year, I've wound down pretty decently. Like I because of my family situation, wanting to spend time with the wife and the kids, and I'm not going to work more than 40 hours a week average across the year. I'll put in the occasional 50-hour a week, but I'm also going to take a week off. In like 4 weeks, we're going on February recess for school. We're doing a Great Wolf Lodge. We're doing like a water park trip with the family, and in the middle of a boom, it's like financially, that's going to cost me maybe $2,000, right? The hotel, the water park passes, the meals, and it might cost me $2,000. As far as lost wages, that's costing me significantly more than $2,000. But that's my priorities. We're all playing different games. We all have different priorities and life situations. So 10 years ago, I would not be going to the water park. 10 years ago, I would not be taking days off. I would be grinding. I would be putting in 100-hour weeks, as I said, because the opportunity is insane.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, if you
What about you?
do
you think you're going to work more or less?
Same amount or more. I didn't have the start you had. Like I haven't been, operating at a business for, 6 or 7 years like you have. So, just going full time a couple years ago and then really starting to pick up last year. Like I have a few years of grinding before I start really taking the feet off the gas. And also, like, I'm bullish on the market long term, but I'm cautious on business, right? So it's like, while views are high on YouTube, while streams are going good, while like, the market's liquid on, sales and consignment does good on auctions. Like I'm just trying to take full advantage of it while it's here. So that way, in case it does slow down, I'm not sitting here kicking myself saying, I wish I would went harder when I could have. Like when things slow down, I'll just say, cool, I'll take it slower now because there's not as much to do. But yeah, I mean, while things are like this, I kind of have to, just because I didn't get in early enough with the business side.
Yeah.
If I was in your position, I'd be doing the same thing though, like that you're doing.
Yeah, and again, like personal finance and everyone's situation is just so different that people speak in these absolutes as if they project their situation out on everyone, and they think that there's only like one way to do things. I think that's very common in and outside of Pokemon, but everyone's story is very different, so we're all optimizing for different things.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like everyone's got different goals too in Pokemon. I mean, some people like just, they have different financial goals. They have different life goals, different time frames. They want to like, be invested or be running a business, or how long, until they retire. Do they have kids? Do they have to worry about their kids' futures? Like, what kind of things do you like? Are you trying to like be a world traveler? Do you like expensive things like cars and houses? Like there's just so many different, variables to that where, you'll tell people like, your goals, and they'll like scoff at them or laugh at them, or, because they're comparing what their wants and likes and plans to yours, so I think there needs to be a lot more like understanding that everyone's life is different. Everyone's goals are different.
And here's a question for you, if I can, if it's not too prying. What's your dream scenario? What's your dream scenario? Paint the picture of the next 5 to 10 years of your business, of the Pokemon market. Say the upside hits. Say these things will go really well. You and I, 3 years ago, when I was first on this channel, we talked a little bit about financial independence, and I wanted to talk about that again. Like what does early retirement potentially look like?
Dude, just man, no responsibilities. I think no responsibilities is the way to put it. If you had like technically enough in investments that were paying you dividends or, stipends every month that were enough to live on, enough to pay your bills. Obviously the first goal is to get my wife like retired from her job. I'd like to get her to stop working. And then after that, I mean, if we can just get to that point where there's enough invested to where, you're not depending on income to live on, then it becomes a lot more fun because you're not doing it because you have to, you're doing it because you want to. And then I'll be in your position where it's like, hey, if we want to take a week or two off and go do some stuff, cool. If we want to take a night or two off, if I want to post a few less videos, like, all those types of things. I think when you're not forced to do something, it becomes a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. Do you envision then someday, because like for anyone unfamiliar with who I am and what I do and all that stuff, I'm Catch 'em All Collectibles like on all platforms. But if you go on the way, guys, and you look up Catch 'em All Collectibles.
Yeah, his link is pinned is in the top of the description. I'll pin it to the top of the chat right now for his channel.
But yeah, like I'm on YouTube every week. I make a video. I do a live stream. But as far as like sales channels, sales platforms, what I do business wise, and I'd be interested to hear, like, is this something that you would like to build towards or could see yourself doing someday? I don't sell direct to consumer anymore. Alex has his live streams. You rip packs. You sell them to direct to consumer through your website, all that stuff. I have streamers. I have streamers, independent contractors that I source, that I supply, and some of them sell their stuff, but some of them sell my stuff too. So 5, 10, 20 years from now, I kind of hope to be doing the same thing that I'm doing. Maybe one or two of my kids decide to get involved in the family business. Maybe one of them starts making some content. Maybe there's things going on in that area. But I see myself more as like a facilitator. I like the sourcing side. I like the speculating investing side. I don't like the end consumer interaction. I don't like packing and shipping orders. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. I'm not fully financially independent, though. If my entire net worth, Pokemon included, if all of that was in traditional investments, and that's one thing I like about traditional investments too, you can't have, I don't care if you have 1,000 Destined Rivals pallets, they will never deposit a fixed amount of money passively into your account that you can live off of, right? You can have a certain amount of VOO, you can have a certain amount of VT Sacks, and you can truly have passive risk, like not risk-free investments as far as like they're not going to flood, they're not going to be stolen, they're not going to burn down, right? So that's one thing I like about the traditional stuff. You can never build that in Pokemon solely. There's always going to be something you need to look over.
Oh, I'll definitely have a liquidity event in the future to do that. Absolutely. Like there will definitely be a time where I sell a large portion of the appreciated investments and put it into funds that will, pay off, whether, if some goes in an annuity or something, or, others are just in the stock market, just paying, whether they're in dividend stocks or they're in, just regular indexes, or, if I'm just going to like work a little, maybe like just write some covered calls all the time just to make some more income off them, whatever it takes to like make an income. Like there will be a time when I sell a lot of Pokemon and do that just so it's really hands off, income coming in. But then I'll probably still just continue to do the same thing again, like with more modern steel, just start from scratch and do it again.
Let me pause you briefly though, and let me make sure chat realizes what just happened. Alex said he's going to sell the superior investment of cardboard and he's going to put it in the boring, traditional, low CAGR investments. There are some pros and cons. There are some benefits to it. So
the passive lifestyle is 100% the benefit, right? And like that's, you asked me like what I would do. I think like, not to get all like internet guru on you, but I think like when you're operating out of like a mindset of scarcity versus like a mindset of like abundance, your life changes a lot. Like right now, right? It's like I'm operating on a scarcity. It's like, I don't know how long this boom could last. I don't know how long the business is going to be the way it is. Like, so I'm just trying to like do everything I possibly can every minute of the day, every time I can. Whereas like when you're set up like that, you're just like, you know what? I'm going to stream when I want to. I'm going to make videos when I want to. I'm going to, do this when I want. And it's like, you don't feel guilty about like you don't feel guilty about taking a vacation with your family because you already have enough, right? It's like, yeah, more is always great. I can always do more with more. I can help more people, help my friends out, get them to the points, get my wife retired from her job. Like, but when you already have enough, it's just like, you're able to live a lot more free and I don't know, be more generous with your time and everything. I don't know. I'm just not there yet.
Do you ever envision like right now you are the business? And I know you mentioned like part of your origin story is having some kind of like a landscaping business. And I think it started with you used to do the landscaping and then you kind of built a fleet of people that would do it for you. And then you built it to be a sellable business. Like you sold that, right?
Yeah. And I like it. Do you ever think
NostalgiaNomics will be like, as of today, NostalgiaNomics is you. Do you think you will ever build it into a thing where it's more than you and it becomes maybe sellable? Or do you think it will always be not sellable? It will just be you.
I don't know how it's sellable. Like distro accounts, like a business like that, I think it's sellable, like a full operating business or card shop. I don't know if it will be sellable. And honestly, like we're talking about that. Yeah. I enjoyed the business when I did landscaping thoroughly less, like a ton less when I started to grow and had employees to deal with, and then people would quit and jobs would get delayed and customers upset. It sucked. Like I liked it better when I was like me, even though like, yeah, you weren't doing labor and you were, depending on other people. But so I actually liked it less. And that's why I sold it. Not super quickly after like a year or two after I really started to get to that point, just because I really hated it at that point. So I don't know if I really ever want to get to that point with this business because I know I don't enjoy that aspect of it. Your setup's really good. We're a bunch of independent contractors who just like, you know, if they work, you both get paid. If they don't work, you're not like, you know, on the hook for anything. So I do like that aspect of it. But I mean, yeah, if opportunities arise to like actually grow in that way, but I mean, do you think like a business that like grows and you have like streamers and I guess social media platform, is that really saleable?
Mine's not right now, for sure.
Well,
Someday
you have a
I could do
distribution account,
things
so
that,
that's worth something.
yeah, there's maybe aspects that would have some amount of value that I might be able to transfer in some way, but right now it's minimal, if any of that at all. But like, look at James, ZNG Emporium. He is
Yes.
building something he is building a consignment platform, and I have aspects of like consignment in my operation too. I think right now we're booming too hard for me to think and spend too much time on that. I'm going to continue driving down to New Jersey and buying $100,000 collection to flip it and make my 5-10% or whatever. But at some point, I might sit down and kind of lay it out how this could be more of a sellable thing potentially. And
Yeah.
but I haven't given too much thought to it at this point. I was just curious where you were at on it.
I haven't either. I honestly haven't either. Like I said, I think you're a lot further ahead. You know, you're a lot further ahead in this journey than I am. I mean, because I really didn't interact with the hobby like, you know, much. I mean, other than watching YouTube or, you know, I was investing like on my own with my like a buddy like my mind that we would like talk about it, but like I never like got really involved in the Pokemon community. I never went to like worlds and regionals and card shows and all that. Like, so I didn't really get super involved with like the day to day of the hobby till like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. Only had a channel for like 4 years and only been full-time Pokemon, like really operating at a high level for the last couple of years. And so it's like, once I reach where you're at, where I'm like doing this for a good 4, 5, 6 years, that's when I'll probably have to start asking more of those questions. But right now I just feel like I'm just so new, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is crazy. It is something to think about though. It's fun questions.
It is. It is for sure. Yeah. It's crazy the opportunity that Pokemon has provided to so many people. The amount of people that I know now that are full time, it's crazy. Engineers that quit their jobs, accountants that quit their jobs, teachers that quit their jobs, like every walk of life.
Is anyone else that's working for you quitting their jobs, go full time?
There will likely be new people under the Catch 'em All Collectibles umbrella going full time soon.
Ponga, I know Ponga.
I
know Ponga commented in here. Where are you at, Ponga? Are you gonna announce it?
Ponga's probably listening. I think it's more likely than not. Again, everything's percentages. I'm not going to guarantee, but I think it's more likely than not that there will be 2 newly full-time people under the Catch 'em All Collectibles umbrella this year sometime.
And you're still going to focus on eBay and Fanatics.
Yep, eBay and Fanatics. I have PK and Ponga are the primary guys over on Fanatics. Bierski does a fair amount of instant rips over there, and then Bierski, Grimer, and Spat are over on eBay primarily. Please, people, don't quit your jobs. As I said in my video, 95 to 99% of people watch. I know Terry Lake. Shout out to Terror Bear. 95 to 99% of people the thought should not even cross their mind. And I'm going to be a little bit mean. If you're asking if you should buy a $430 Destined Rivals booster box and you're investing in Pokemon paying sales tax, you definitely should not quit your day job, whatever it is.
Yeah, this is a good point too, Zard Lurking. Yeah, I have no kids for sure. You can make much crazier, you know, leaps and take on more risk when you don't have kids, right? Especially if your spouse is working, especially if you have, you know, low cost of living. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I probably would have made crazy different decisions in my life if I would have had kids. You know, I probably would have either still been, you know, in lawn care running that business, even though I didn't like it, or I'd, you know, be at some job doing sales or something. I mean, I wouldn't take the leap to try Pokemon. I talked to Dan about it when I was thinking about it. Like, we had a conversation when I was thinking about going full time, and I was asking him if, you know, if he thinks like it's possible back then. Like, you know, I laid out what I was going to do, and he's just like, in your situation, it makes sense. And I agreed. I think in my situation, it did.
Yeah. Again, everyone they cast their own situation out on everyone else, and they think everyone is thinking from the same spot, the same age, the same cash flow, the same, but it's drastically different for everyone. And I'm one person, and I've been the same person my whole life, but put me in this market 12, 15 years younger without the kids, and I'm not saying that. I always need to say it. My wife listens to these sometimes. I love you, wifey. I love my setup. I love my situation. I'm not like lamenting on having this be my reality. But if my reality was single, no kids, like I would be grinding like you would not imagine. I've put in 100-hour weeks in my life. I was doing it back in 2016. I call it a boom relative to today's booms. 2016 was nothing, but we boomed for the time. I was a full-time engineer. I lived with my wife at the time. There were definitely 100-hour weeks that I did. There were weeks that I was 50 hours as a chemical engineer and I bought some massive collection or I had some big things going on. There were weeks in 2016 that I put in 100-hour weeks for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up. I believe it's still, I just want to make sure I'm not getting my facts wrong. Yeah. So the TCG, guys, is different, right? The TCG boom much more, COVID now. But I don't think a lot of people understand this, okay? This is Google Trends. This is Pokemon in 2016. It's not even close. Like anyone that wasn't around in 2016 when me and Dan talk about it, 20th anniversary generations, you have friggin' Evolutions, Pokemon Go, the cell phone game. That was some of the most hyped time worldwide for Pokemon. It was the first time Pokemon came back into like the mainstream. Like Pokemon had been largely out of the mainstream since 2000, 2020, 2001, whatever. That was the time where it really became mainstream again. Tons of YouTubers started popping up. Like some of the biggest ones now, like Leonhardt and them really became huge. And it's still the biggest spike in search over Google Trends. To this day, it's not even close. Now, the TCG didn't boom as big back then, but like that's what kind of set up for what we have now, I think.
Can you add two things to that? Do you still have that open?
Yes.
Can you add Pokemon Go and then add Pokemon cards? I'd just be curious to see.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go and Pokemon cards would be interesting. Wow. Pokemon Go still gets searched more than Pokemon cards?
Let's try Pokemon TCG, maybe? Interesting.
That is interesting.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Take
but
Pokemon away real quick.
I figured Pokemon cards would be better than TCG because I don't know how many people actually put TCG in. And it looks like it is.
Yeah, there's the graphs without Pokemon Go and Pokemon. So you can see there's much more search for cards now than there was back in 2016.
But still, like at the time, 2016, that was like the biggest Google Trends spike that we saw up until then.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy what it was at the time. And looking back, it's nothing relative to today and nothing at all. It's crazy how far we've come.
Well, you didn't know. No one knew what to expect. Like it wasn't a thing. Like Pokemon investing wasn't a thing. I mean, SM Pratt was on there talking about all kind of obscure things that like you'd have to be really deep in the hobby to know about. And he would touch on modern some, but like there wasn't anyone really interested in like this stuff other than, just watching YouTubers open it like Leonhardt or, Unlisted Leaf or whoever, and, playing the game. And it's just, it wasn't like it is now.
Pokemon investing would be interesting to type in there as well. I saw somebody suggest that.
Pokemon investing. Here we go.
It's going to be 100 like right now, I think. Right now we are setting the bar
Let's try it. This is going to be good.
It's got to be. We have to be at 100.
Wait, what?
Remove the other two and just see that chart alone. Sometimes I've used Google Trends and it's like I feel like it's having, so it is right near the peak. Yeah. That's just, it's showing you a little bit how much Pokemon is searched relative to investing. Like a lot more people are just searching Pokemon. They want to buy the video game. They want to buy a plushie. They want to look up Pokemon Go. They want to like, Pokemon is a lot more than just cards, right? Actually, one of the things that we constantly talk about in the space is it's the highest grossing media franchise of all time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that trading cards are less than 10% of that. The vast majority of it is just general merchandise.
What's really crazy is like you can see the spike here, right? And then when it went dormant till like COVID times. But man, it's actually had a lot of search all throughout ever since COVID happened. Like it's remained somewhat in the limelight.
You know why in the middle there? Because the NostalgiaNomics channel was born.
Right. Like I guess back here, this was the little maybe the Rudy spike, and this was the SM Pratt spike.
Yep. Yeah. Ever since the NostalgiaNomics channel was born, it's just had that steady
So
floor.
ridiculous. It is wild though. Like I just a lot of people write off the Evolutions boom, and like because they don't. It didn't do as much to price points as like some of these other booms did, but I mean, as far as bringing the attention to the hobby, I think Pokemon Go and Evolutions played a huge part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, Dan, what's your advice for people that are finding the hobby recently? Like, you're getting inundated with so much information now. Like, okay, this is gonna sound bad. Like, and okay, I'm not even gonna name names, but there's a lot of good content creators out there. There's still a lot of good people that talk about data, have good content, but there is so much just nonsense out there, whether it be like rage baiting, drama, just playing characters, like just trying to create almost like the Joker, just trying to create madness for the sake of madness. And so everyone's inundated with so much information, and it's just like, what's the best route to take getting in the hobby now? Is it like tune everything out? Is it take everything in? Is it try to follow people with like track records? I mean, what's your advice for someone new getting in the hobby, trying to figure out, like, get their footing right now?
I think establishing what your goals are, defining and knowing what your goals are, and then doing things every day that advance you towards them. If you're here to just be entertained, I think there's no issue with some of the entertainment, some of the drama channels, whatever. It's not really for me, but like I don't care. It's a thing, right? Like,
hey man,
20 years ago,
I watched Jersey Shore back in high school and college. Okay,
I never watched Jersey Shore, but maybe I'm just a little bit older, I guess. I was gonna say Jerry Springer. I used to watch some Jerry Springer episodes when I'm homesick from school. I think it used to be on at 11 a.m. on a certain channel, whatever. I used to watch some Jerry Springer too. Some people just pull out the popcorn, watch the drama, watch the train wreck, whatever. I get it. It's not for me. So it's like, if you're here to just have a good time, screw around, whatever, go into a Catch 'em All Collectibles live stream, go into a NostalgiaNomics live stream, prod and poke and say Destined Rivals can't fall below 400. Say this, that, the other thing, guarantee, get the people fired up. Some people are just doing that. Some people are just having a good time. Some people are trying to poke fun at things, whatever. But if your goal is to like make a lot of money in Pokemon, if like define what it is you want to do, and then do things that bring you towards that goal every day. And one, like, step 0. If you are doing business in Pokemon, if you are buying with intent to resell to make money, stop paying sales tax. That is the message that most people need to hear. And the next thing, that's step 0. Step 1 is, do you have more money or do you have more time? If you have more money, say you're a doctor. I do calls and stuff with people that are doctors that make $500,000 a year. They have families and they want to just spend and sell in 5 or 10 years and never touch it, never play with it, never interact. So they are all money, no time. And that's fine. And then some people, I talk with some people that are 25 and they have little to no money, but they have some savvy, they have some experience. Maybe they have a little bit of cash flow they shouldn't be investing whatsoever. They should be turning all the money over as many times as they can, every day, every week, every month, every whatever. They should be hitting the shows. They should be hitting the LGSs. They should be making relationships in Discord, finding sources, make that 5%, make that 10%, grading, all that good stuff. No, avoiding sales tax by becoming a business. If you're doing business in Pokemon, you are by definition, even without doing an LLC, even without doing an S corporation, fundamentally, the day that you start trying to make money in Pokemon, you are seen as by the IRS as a sole proprietor. Sole proprietor, like you can go to every state, it's different. I live in New York. It's called a DBA. Some places call it a fictitious name. You can get a DBA or a fictitious name. You can be a sole proprietor. You can get an EIN. You can get a sales tax certificate. Some places call it a business license. My state, it's like $35. $35. You give that to eBay. you don't pay sales tax on items intended for resale. Give it to Amazon, give it to eBay, give it to Best Buy takes it, give it to Walmart takes it, Costco, Sam's Club, they all take it. Don't pay sales tax on items intended for resale. Sales tax is for the end consumer to pay. If you're not the end consumer, don't pay sales tax. That's not me. I'm forwarding this message from the IRS. Like, that is how it works.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are self-proclaimed investors that don't know that is sheer lunacy. Like, you're paying, I'll use this to rant on my wife's. My wife's a teacher. She has at her employer, at her school, a 403B. Her 403B has a 5% sales load. It's disgusting. Like, it's 2026, people. For people who don't know what that means, if she puts $100 into her 403B, only 95 enters the investment. They skim 5 off the top. So all these investors paying sales tax on their Pokemon investments on eBay, you're paying a 10% sales load. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Please stop it for everyone's benefit. And that's if you're investing in slabs, if you're investing in singles, if you're investing in sealed. If you're not the end consumer, you're not supposed to pay sales tax. That's how it works. And consult with a professional, yada yada, disclaimer. Like some people, please don't get a business license, a reseller certificate, and then buy packs that you're opening and consuming. Like, that's sales tax evasion. That's bad. But there's so many people that think they're doing all these big things. They're guaranteeing this won't do this and this won't do that, and then they're paying sales tax on items intended for resale.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Come on, people.
You did talk about, like, having the consult calls. And then you also have a Patreon that you run. What?
Yep.
I know a lot of people in your Patreon have probably been there for a long time. Like, what are those discussions like nowadays? Like, what's the overall consensus in there? Everyone's got to be doing well at this point. Have a lot of those people went full time in the hobby now? Like, what's that like?
I think our Patreon's up to about 300 active members now. I'm partners with, some people might know the name Pokenomics. The Patreon is called Pokenomics. Jake, my partner in the Patreon,
is now partnered with Cardinal Gaming.
He's also, independent, separate business venture, but he's partnered with Cardinal Gaming on live streaming in the physical stores in Kentucky. So he's doing big things in this space. There's like 300 people in there. Jake himself is the one that like owns and manages the Patreon, so I don't see all the back end data, but I think it's about 300 people in there. There's a lot of full-timers. There are several dozen full-time, large-scale business operations. There are people that run live streams. There are people that own physical LGSs. There are people that have just large websites. There are people that have digital mystery pack platforms. There are people of all walks of life in this space. There are people that solely collect too. Some people are in there just they like to engage in deeper discussion and all that. So all different angles, but a general statement is very true that as 5 years ago when we started it, people have leveled up substantially. Many people have leveled up substantially in that space.
Yes, now I guess my question more is like, it's more broad, like a YouTube channel, right? But like people that are everyone in there is like obviously paying to be there, much more, deeper in the hobby. Like they have all their basics covered. What are the conversations like, these days? Like, what do they center around? Is it business related, investing related? Is it all about like, identifying like, the best flips or like undervalued cards? Like where is people like really gravitating toward these days, you think?
A lot of the conversations are like, I actually, depending on the Discord, I'm in like 50 different Discords. I only actively engage in a couple. But if a Pokemon Center drop comes up, sometimes they get posted in there. There's definitely some people that engage in those. I don't engage in those myself personally. There's a lot of like people have fun, people meme on things. But I think the deeper conversations happen in we call them office hours. Once a week, myself and Jake independently are available for an hour in like a Discord voice call. And then once a month, we do like a Zoom call. I think the deeper conversations happen there. As far as like, there's a lot of what's PSA's current turnaround time. It's a lot of like fairly topical stuff gets done in the Discord chat. Sometimes people are weighing in on what they think is going to happen with this or that, talking about the Illustrator sale. But yeah, there's not like, as far as day to day in the Discord chat itself, there's not like anything super deep, anything super groundbreaking, I wouldn't say, to be honest.
No, and that's the exact answer that I wanted, actually, because, you know, I also have a Patreon. I also have a Patreon. We have monthly calls. A lot of times we'll have monthly Discord chats. And I think people think there's like the secret sauce. You know, people think like there's just like this wealth of knowledge that they don't know about. And if they can get that wealth of knowledge, you know, I have consult calls too. I do all the time. And, you know, I'll get like, you know, these questions, and people like legitimately think like I have some kind of insider, you know, knowledge or insider deals. Like, well, you have distro. No, I really don't. I have a distributor. I get very little from them. Well, surely you have a source though, right? Like, I'm like, no, you see my posts. I put them on Instagram and Discord. I buy from the open market, and you see my streams. I sell them on streams. I can sign to Probstein. I can give you Probstein's information. Dan won't want you to give me that. I can give you DC's. I can give you Arizona TCG.
He is the consigner that shall not be named henceforth on my channel. I will not utter the name again.
I will say Arizona TCG sponsor the channel. People have said, I haven't heard from them directly. Apparently they might start doing sealed product too. For slabs, Arizona TCG, awesome. Best back end, you know, system in the industry, I think. But if they start doing sealed, I'll be just sending my seal to them. Yeah, I mean, I do pretty much, it's everything that you would think, but I think a lot of people think to be successful in this hobby, you have to like know some kind of secret sauce. And I think the only secret sauce is time and volume. Like the more volume you do, the more like, the more avenues open up. Like here, like an example is, you know, when you're selling large volumes of packs, right? Well, you're going to get better deals on things because people need to dump things at certain times, or they're willing to give you better deals because you're taking a larger quantity. So you buy out a bunch of like collection boxes or tins. Well, in those things, there may be some promos that are valuable. Well, now you can take those promos, you can grade a bunch of those promos. Well, now by the time those grades get back, those are worth money. And like, there's like all these different little avenues that come up. And I don't think there's a substitute for just time and consistency, and, you know, just continue to up and up your volume over time. And, you know, the same can be the same for vending. You start out with one table, you eventually build it to 2 and 3 and 4, and you've acquired all this inventory, and now some of the inventory you've been holding has risen while you own it. I just think a lot of people want the secret sauce, and it's not there.
And like, honestly, the secret sauce I just spilled, and it shouldn't be secret to anybody, but like getting your reseller certificate, not paying sales tax on item intended for resale. A lot of the people in the space are just putting themselves so far behind initially. And I know a lot of your channel at the outset, you'd link TCG Player and you'd link eBay and you'd buy more from the open market. Definitely some amount of what you do these days, I think you'd agree, you're buying more at a percentage. You're buying more at a percentage. You're not buying as much from eBay TCG Player. So, but you're doing it in the open. I have a public buy list that I post every Monday. You have a public buy list that you post periodically. Like, we are transacting pretty out in the open. It's pretty obvious what we're doing. We're just iterating on it a lot. We're grinding, and there are definitely some sweetheart deals that go on and stuff. But one crazy thing about today's market that wasn't true 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I have a sweetheart deal with Fanatics. My consignment service offers that sweetheart deal to anybody. I have over 100 consigners that use my Fanatics consignment service. They don't get as good of rates as I do because I am like anyone who consigns through Arizona TCG. Arizona TCG is making money, but simultaneously they're doing all the work, and oftentimes they're delivering a more return to you than you would get yourself. And you talked about the one who shall not be named, DC Sports 87. I'm not even affiliate customer. If I sell a $1,200 booster case, of which every case is above $1,200 now, if I sell a $1,200 booster case on DC Sports, I net 96%. If I sell it on my own eBay and do the shipping myself and answer the customer messages myself and take the pictures myself, I only net 88%. I don't have rates with eBay. So DC Sports gives me rates with eBay for no work. So a lot of people ask me frequently, Dan, how much of your business today is due to being out there, having the channel, having the following, having the name? A decent bit, because I'm leveraging all that stuff. But like, that's not to say you couldn't be successful without it. The amount of people that consign through me, that consign through James, that consign through Arizona TCG, and have 7-figure businesses themselves without a name, without a brand, without an Instagram, without a YouTube is massive. It is massive. I promise. Like, there are people engaging at a massive level without a name, without a brand.
When I went full time, I can't remember. Maybe I had 5,000 subscribers, something like that. Right. Didn't stream. That I didn't leverage my audience for anything, like, other than, okay, I made some money from YouTube off content, maybe some affiliate revenue, like whatever. But like, my entire business was buying off open market. I'd buy cards off the open market. I would grade the cards. I would make the margin on PSA. You would rinse and repeat that process. You'd flip the other singles back on. And sometimes you hit home runs, a lot of more base hits. And you just do that again and again and again. And yeah, you can have a very successful business literally having no connections, like zero. Especially if you're vending, getting stuff at even cheaper. I mean, go to your local card shops, guys. Most local card shops don't grade their cards because it doesn't make sense for them. And people are like, why wouldn't they do that? Because they can just buy the cards at 50, 60%. They put them in their case. You're going to buy them at 100. They're going to flip like that instead of take months and months down the road so they can make a home run, where in that time frame, they can hit 100 doubles. And so it's like, you can go to local card shops. You can go to card shows, find people that don't grade, like, find gradable cards. You can do that. Like, there's tons of ways where you don't need a following to be successful.
But and the people who do get tripped up disproportionately get tripped up because they see us 7-figure businesses, guys that have been in here for 10 years plus, and they just want to get here quickly. Like, cumulatively over the past 12 years, I've been full-time for 5 years. That's 10,000 hours.
I want to get to where Dan's at quickly.
So, yeah. So in the past 5 years, going on 5 years that I've been full time, I put in 10,000 hours, and then the 7 years before that, I put in at least 1,000 hours a year. I've brought 20,000 hours to get to where I'm at. And you know what's crazy? If I sell on eBay, if you the listener, we sell at the same rates. I have no advantage. You can use DC just like I do. You can use ZNG just like I do. So I do have sweetheart deals with Fanatics. I can sell for a little bit cheaper than the vast majority of people can through Fanatics. I currently have a little thing going on with Golden. I've known people there for a long time, and I have some stuff going in with that whole Illustrator batch. So I have some sweetheart deals. But like, there's a lot of segments of the market where I have no advantage. And I've done, and I'm going to do again, well over 7 figures on eBay. My net on my eBay sales alone this year will be well in the 6 figures for sure. And that's done through avenues that everyone has access to.
In a lot of
people,
in a lot of ways, the playing field's more level now because of consignment services and the rates you can pay. It's like, well, if no one's really got an up on the sell, that means the only way people are like Dan or I have like is on the buy. So it's like, okay. And honestly, the buys aren't that great. I don't think people think like we get like crazy deals. Maybe you do, dude. Like, boxes now, you're not getting people selling under 85%. Like, so now if you get like a large, maybe a huge collection, or obviously like collection boxes or tins, that stuff, maybe like single cards for sure. But like, it's not easy to get sealed product. Like, even like the high end stuff, Sun and Moon XY, Evolving Skies, dude, people want more than 85 because they know they can consign it. It's not like anyone's paying 50, 60, 70% for this stuff. So it's not like you're that far behind even without a following.
No, a lot of people just they see and they're trying to get rich quick. Essentially, they're trying to replicate a decade's plus of blood, sweat, and tears, and they're trying. And the crazy part is, if you get it in your head that like there's not this mystical oasis of 60% cars to buy and this and that, if you put your head to it and you grind, you can. If you started today with 50 grand capital. And I'm not advocating that anyone quit their job with 50 grand capital and try to do this. But I guarantee you there are people that will go full-time this year with 50K or less capital and the right head on their shoulders and the right lifestyle to make it work. There are people that will net 6 figures plus, multiple 6 figures plus in 2026 that are quitting their job this year with no significant advantages anywhere. Some of them will do it vending. Some of them did it last year vending. Some of them will do it with content. Some of them will do it invisibly. So like I have consigners through me. It is a thing. It is a thing.
I want to do this. Tell me how.
I don't know if it'll be a thing forever.
I have 50K. Tell me how.
you're already outperforming it, so you don't need to
no,
stoop
I
to
have
that level,
50K I
guess
can
I'll say.
allocate. Like I got what's going on? What are we here? If I have
Pick which way you
50K,
want. Pick which way you want to do it.
if
Honestly,
I
pick
have
which way you want to
50K
do it.
and I can make that much, and my wife can quit her job, what can she do?
Honestly, going back to like what I would do today, it would probably be primarily vending. I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna travel for 40 weekends a year, but
No.
you could do it traveling 40 weekends a year, probably.
You really believe in vending, huh?
I vended only 6 or 8 collecticons myself. I'll probably never vend another one again. But yeah, there's a lot of people making a lot of money vending. It just doesn't suit my situation right now. But look at like a Jar Chomp. Look at a Beer Dad Cards. Look at an Oyama's Trading. Look at there's tons of people crushing relentlessly with it, especially if and when you tie in content with it.
I was
Which
gonna say
my
without the
business
content, you think so?
I've consulted with some, and I just know some personally too. I know people that don't have a name, that don't have a face, generally speaking, that are making 6 figures vending. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I worry that a lot of the success vending was on the back of the market rising, and every show they would get to, their inventory would rise again and rise again and rise again. So like what would happen when the market's flatter if the market has a downturn and your inventory every show is worth less? Like I
You do
think
have to be careful.
yeah.
You have to be careful separating. And my net income in 2025, it was 2 things. One of it was more replicable, doing business, buying at a percent, selling at a higher percent, and then the other portion of it was like capital gains. Capital gains are not as replicable, right? Some people think line will go up forever and into eternity, but that part is not. In 2020, when the market boomed, I had a 7-figure appreciation on what started as a 6-figure inventory. I had a low 6-figure inventory in 2019 that turned into a 7-figure inventory in 2020. That's not replicable, right? But Wednesday, my dad drove me down, truck and trailer, father son, pallet investors, father son, tag team GX duo. We went down with a truck and trailer. I bought $137,700 worth of cards at approximately 80% value. I'm just going to consign it. I'm just going to live stream sell it through my independent contractors. I'm going to make, I didn't do it all Wednesday, but I will make on 9%. I set the stage for making $14,000 on Wednesday. I need to do the back end work to make that happen, right? I need to get it to the consignment location. I need to do all the things, but yeah, like buy at a low percent and sell at a higher percent. That is Walmart's entire business model. That is like the amount of companies in the world that their entire business model is buy wholesale, sell retail. That is a multi-trillion-dollar market, right? That is tried and true over the past centuries and millennia.
Yeah, before we take Jorge's question, guys, like that, oh my gosh. If you could only explain to people and they could understand that. I get so many people say, and I know Pokey gets it. I mean, everyone gets it. It's like, you don't even have a real business. You're just selling someone else's product. It says every retailer in the entire world. Like, what do you think?
Everything you bought, everything behind me, I was scalped on, right? Someone bought these things wholesale or they manufactured them. Some people manufacture directly and don't really have distributors. Yeah. And everything you buy in your life, multiple businesses up the chain made money. The people making the things, the raw materials that went into the things, the people who put the raw materials together into the final product, like everything is that. Everything is that.
I remember reading
a story from service.
I remember reading a story about like Nike didn't even have its own stores until like way after they were giant. Like they always sold their products through a third party. Like this has happened for years. It's nothing new, but I don't know why people have such a problem with it in the TCG hobby that like you sell
because it's their hobby, it's their joy. Don't bring capitalism into my pleasure. Like, sorry, but every hobby you have, there's some capitalist in that space somewhere. Maybe you don't see him as closely as you do here, but that's I didn't make the rules. I'm just playing by them, right? That whole thing.
All right, so Jorge, how can a regular person? By the way, thanks for the super chat, man. How can a regular person investing long-term in steel product avoid sales tax? If you want to buy consistently, it's inevitable. Product is not always close by with 2-3x gain. What's the big deal? Oh, you mean like Do you mean like cash or in-person sales? Or Jorge, I'm looking at the chat right now. If you're still here, let me know in the chat exactly what you're talking about.
Sales tax is not inevitable. Are you buying on eBay? Are you buying on, well, TCG Player, don't get me started on them. They are a horrific platform. I used to be sales tax exempt on TCG Player. They like voided most people's sales tax exemption. They were moving from New York to Kentucky, some whole mess. I don't know exactly why or how. Business. I'm not going to show it because it will show my EIN, which probably wouldn't matter. But I have in New York. In New York, it's this big. It's called a certificate of authority. It gives me authority to collect and remit sales tax on items intended for resale. This is like, I'm not trying to be mean, but this is the most remedial level business type thing that like businesses don't pay sales tax on items intended for resale. Chevrolet, when Chevrolet buys tires, when Chevrolet buys wheels, when Chevrolet buys engines, or some amount of them they build, some amount of them they buy, whatever. When they assemble a vehicle, they are not paying sales tax on any of those components that go into building a car, because once the car is built, they send it to a dealer, the buyer pays sales tax, end consumers pay sales tax. When you're an intermediary in a transaction between business and consumer, basically, you are not supposed to be paying sales tax on items intended for resale. I don't know how to, like, again, not trying to be mean. And so he says in person. I try to buy in my area, but I can always get it in my location. So some LGSs may accept your sales tax exemption. Some may not. Depending on the state you're in, there may be a means to recover sales tax paid on items intended for resale, but that's a whole different conversation. I know, like, I have a local office supply store in the town nearby me, and it's an office supply store, and they accept sales tax exemptions. If I go to like Office Depot, or if I go to Staples or whatever, not every place is going to accept reseller certificates. But if you're buying on OfferUp, if you're buying on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, those people are likely not charging you sales tax, right?
I just had to check. I still have it on TCG Player.
They kicked me off it. I haven't bought on TCG Player in several months because, yeah.
That's so weird. Why would they do that?
Highlight the snack attacking Snorlax. If eBay charges P-Football in Arizona TCG 4%,
hold on.
How is that a level playing field? I need to give a hard to swallow pill here. Not everything will be a level playing field. Life is not always fair. And honestly, it's not even unfair. P-Football Pete does tens of millions of dollars in transactions on eBay. It is fair and reasonable that they pay a lower percentage. So
Dan actually commented. Dan commented on one of my videos where I was like, my point was like, large sales aren't always better, right? Because, you could have someone with, who does $1 million a year and they may have very small margins. They may have 10% margins, make 100 grand. Other people may have a 500K business and they may have 30% margins, make 150 grand. But Dan's point, he made a comment. He said, yeah, but when you do high volumes, you can, negotiate different rates and actually benefit your business. And he's 100% right. Like, that's the whole point of the volume they do is more beneficial for eBay. And so they reward them for that. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
And what I need to say is, it is not a level playing field. You have people out here paying sales tax on items that they're investing in. You have people paying sales tax. I've actually done consults with people who run a rip and ship operation. Their main source was eBay, and they were paying sales tax. It's like you are hemorrhaging money. You are destroying your likelihood of success because you are misunderstanding a remedial foundational thing that you need to know. So like,
how are they doing that?
They weren't really. They weren't really.
Whatever your sales tax rate, you're eating like 6-8% of your margin. Like, how much margin do you have?
And some people, the only reason that they're not doing that is because they live in New Hampshire, or they live in Oregon, or they live in one of the few states that don't charge sales tax. But it's crazy out here. Like, this comment makes me think that this, and I'm not trying to be mean ever, but this makes it sound like there's an underlying presumption that things should be fair and level. They never have been. They never will be. That is life. And it's not even unreasonable due to the volume, due to yada yada yada. But you need to know that. You need to know that there are people out there buying at 80%. Meanwhile, you're buying at 110%. At least get your 110% down to 100% only. At least stop paying sales tax on items intended for resale. Yeah. But comments like that scare me because it's never going to be, and you're making it harder on yourself if you're not educating yourself and doing things like properly, doing things above board and properly. A lot of people fear fees. A lot of people fear, some of the crowd who fears fees too, they're paying a 10% fee every time they buy. They're paying sales tax. Like, what are we doing? And again, if you're a consumer, if you're a collector, if you are in here listening and you're a collector, you are supposed to be paying sales tax. The end consumer supposed to pay sales tax.
Not only that, you know, again, it's hard to talk about things like a lot of people weren't here for, but like, guys, just a few years ago, distribution was not something that was like sought after, right? No one really, you could jump on Safari Zone or People Pete and basically play near, if not at distro pricing, or you could be in like a site like MVP or something. You'd be paying basically distro pricing for booster boxes. And so nobody wanted distro. People would be like, why would I get distro? I got to take a bunch of crap. I'm basically paying the same price. There's no need for distro. And that's when people like Dan and Brian, Eli, everyone built their distros up when they were paying those. And so, you know, I know like a guy near me is good friends with the owner of Fortune Fire because Fortune Fire is here. And, you know, Mark was telling him, he's just like, dude, I was, you know, getting my ass beat the entire time. You know, all these boxes, I was taking losses. I couldn't sell anything. I was getting crushed. He's like, of course I'm going to friggin', you know, hold the stuff and take the profits and put stuff away now and, you know, take all the gains because I'm the one that put up with all the crap when no one wanted to buy the stuff. So I don't feel bad at all that I'm charging what I'm charging. And I think that's what people miss is like Arizona people, Pete, these people, like they got these deals with eBay because they stayed the course. They were selling when boxes were $80. They're selling now when they're 200. They'll be selling when boxes are 110, whatever. And so it's like, there's a reward you get for being somewhere long-term, building up large sales and being involved in markets, whether they're good, bad, ugly.
And I looked at chat while you were talking there, and I realized some of the disconnect too. So I'll pull back a little, just like the pushback that I'm getting. Target doesn't apparently take sales tax exemptions. I don't buy from Target. I don't buy from Pokemon Center. I'm not in notification group Discords. I don't scalp product from retail. So if you are in one of these cook groups, if you might have to pay sales tax in certain areas. I understand, but if you're on eBay paying sales tax, if you're on websites that take sales tax exemptions, basically, you should not be paying sales tax. You are a sole proprietor at minimum. You are doing business. You are selling it to the end consumer. You are not the end consumer. But there's probably a lot of people in this chat, to be fair, like I didn't even consider this because I don't buy that way. Again, we're all doing things differently. It drops from Pokemon Center.
We lose him. Dang, I think we lost him. Well, while Dan comes back, we'll talk through this a little bit. But yeah, I mean, guys, I think his main point is he's just talking about. Oh, there he is. He's back. He's back. We're still trying to catch up. No, his main point is, guys, just like if you're going to try and do this seriously, you know, become a sole proprietor, get your DBA, become an LLC, get your sales tax permit if you're buying something for the intent to sell to someone else in the future, right? Because they're going to pay the sales tax. Like the government's going to get their money from them. You're just an intermediary from one source to the next, right? It's kind of like, you know, anyone who buys from a wholesaler and is a retailer. It's like, you know, a gas station doesn't pay sales tax on candy bars, right? They get them from the wholesaler, they sell them to and the consumer pays the sales tax on the candy bar. It's the same exact thing. All right, he's back.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry. My internet is having some preemptive hiccups to the storm, apparently.
Much better. But no, I think they pretty much get what you're saying at that point. Let's see what else we got. I don't know, man. Anything else you wanted to touch on while we're here? Shout out something. What you got going on?
I've got a lot of stuff going on always, but honestly, the vast majority of it is just relatively boring. The vast majority of it is just buying at a certain number and selling at a higher number. Everyone is doing something different. I think clearly defining who you are, what your goals are, and then doing things every day that advance you towards them. If you're here to just have a good time, turn on the latest drama video, go check it out, have fun, leave some comments, like engage in all that. But generally speaking, for someone like me, for someone like Alex, generally I think too, it's just noise. It's just the peanut gallery will just slow you down. I don't engage in a lot of that. I try to the content that I enjoy the most, because my goal is to make money in this space, is Alex and Eli's podcast every Monday. It's Brian's live streams. It's people that are doing business at a high level. I want to hear from them and I want to hear what they're doing. But yeah, if that aligns with your goals, just surround yourself with people who have similar aspirations, I guess. Don't get caught up in all the muck if you're seeking to advance is what I'll say.
Yeah, and like, I have a good sense of humor too. Like the only thing I mean, sometimes I get taken out of context, but obviously irks you a bit. But it's like most time, I'll laugh too at like the Kira, the opossum videos, the Team Rocket Joey stuff. Like some of the stuff's just funny, but like it's less about like the fact that like I'm like so upset that I can't watch it, guys. I don't even have time to like talk to like people I want to talk to in this hobby, and I don't have time to talk to my friends enough because I'm so busy. I mean, I'd love to be on more Discord live chats. Like I see Discord live chats going on sometimes. I'm like, should I jump in? But I'm just like, man, I got like this, and this to do. I haven't even seen my wife today. Like, I can't even talk to my friends on the phone. Like, I'll have people call and I'll talk to them for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm like, all right, man, I really got to go. I got to get back to work. Like, so like, I'm with Dan. It's less about like wanting to be involved in drama. It's just, I don't even have time to watch or listen to a lot of the time stuff I want to, much less stuff I don't, or talk to people I want to talk to, much less people I don't. And so that's what it's more for me. And so I don't know, maybe people have a lot more time on their hands. And so for you guys, it's more fun. But I mean, if you're wanting to get ahead, you got to get busy. You're not going to have a lot of time on your hands.
How much would you say you are working a week, like right now? Like you're on that grind?
So yeah, I get up about 7:30. I'll have breakfast. I'll head downstairs to work. We work all day long. I'll eat lunch in 15 minutes or 20 minutes. We do get off around 4:30ish. I'll hit the gym. I'll get back from the gym, get out of the shower, eat dinner, and I'll have maybe, depending on the day, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour with my wife. And then I'm on stream from 7 till whenever, 11, midnight, whatever. I'll get off, go to bed, wake up, do it again. I have some time on the weekends, but that's about it. Like Monday through Friday, absolutely zero time, like zero. But the weekend, me and my wife will take some time to hang with each other.
You're probably averaging 70-hour weeks or something, right? Like
I'll take Saturdays. I try to take Saturdays completely off. I don't always get to. And then Sundays I will work. I'll either film videos. I'll, get deals done. There's other stuff broken down, whatever. But I usually try to get Saturday fully off. If not, like just work a couple hours in the morning. But Monday through Friday is brutal.
Yeah. Again, you have pretty clearly defined goals of financial independence and all that stuff, and you're doing things every day that bring you towards them. And I think a lot of people, and I've done this at various points in my life, and I'm not saying I'm perfect on it, but I think a lot of people just kind of like meander through life. I don't think they have plans further than that Friday night or whatever, and they're not really setting concrete goals, and like they're not really advancing towards anything. So I think a lot of people, whether it's your personal collection, whether it's business aspirations, whatever it is, subscriber counts, if you set things more clearly, I think you'll just end up a lot closer to those goals than if you meander aimlessly, which is very easy to do in today's day and age. All the different distractions readily in all of our pockets. Yeah.
Does this mean Eli's program? I am in Eli's program. I just get very, very little because I didn't build my spend with a bunch of Eli's program has turned into like an actual distributor. It's like you have to like go and like get crap product to build your spend up so you get more of the good stuff. It's almost like it's like the same way as it is with the distributor, dude. It's crazy.
It's crazy props to Eli too for being so honest and not just like taking the bag and running. Like hindsight, it would be an amazing. I know Eli doesn't really make videos right now, aside from the live streams you guys do. Whenever this calms down, whenever this market cools, a video that Eli should make is like how much I could have made if I just rug pulled you all. He should do like, here's the amount that I sold, and he makes like credit card fees, and he makes like a pretty small margin, right? Then he makes the recurring fees from the memberships. But if he just bought his whole allocation and dumped it on TCG Player, eBay, his website at 95% of market, as opposed to 2% above wholesale or whatever, it is disgusting. I remember one of your live streams, he said a number. He said it was multi six figures, and it was for one set. Maybe it was black or white or something. He actually said a number, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is nuts!" So,
dude,
props to him for not just running.
I told him point blank. I was like, dude, it was like the early last year, and I'm like, he was like asking me about like things about the program. I'm like, honestly, here's what you should do: you should shut down the program, and you should sell everything yourself. And then I said, and then when the boom's about to be over, you should sell your business and your distro account, and you'll probably retire in a year or two, a multi-millionaire. And I just like I'm telling you right here, I told him point blank like that, and he's just like, "No, I can't do that, man. I just can't do that to everybody." I'm like, "You're a good man." I'm like, "But you wanted my opinion." I'm like, the amount of money he could have made in the last year, it's unbelievable. Because you got to remember, Brian Pokemon, that he's got Pokemon. Eli had Pokemon, Magic. He's got 6 distributors. He's with every different card game, dude. With Final Fantasy last year, with dude, it would have been so outrageous. All the different products, not just the booster boxes that he gets like 3,000 of. You got the bundles, the ETBs, like every release, every set. It would have been so astronomical. Like all the different bundles you get offered that he divvies up. I mean, multi millions of profit. We're talking profit. He could have made
net profit. Net profit.
Crazy.
Does he have One Piece as well or no?
Yes, I believe he does have One Piece. I believe. I do. Yeah, again, like that guy just asked, "Are you in Eli's program?" Dude, I don't even go. I literally go in there once a month or whatever to go put my orders in for my one case of each set, and I'm never in there, so I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy to think, and even if he just pivoted towards like a Rudy model. Rudy doesn't give wholesale pricing, right? He gives semi under market, barely under market, and he still sells out a lot of products.
Do you
but if he pivoted, I have over the years, but very infrequently. I've been a patron of his for years, but no, like it's
some
more
of those,
just
specials sometimes that are actually decent deals.
I've bought some, but I've not bought one in over a year, I don't think. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, what he's built too, and I could be wrong here. I think the general sentiment is against me, but I think in 5 or 10 years, I think people will be able to apply for distro again. The only way that people will be able to apply for distro, maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter, maybe it never happened. But like, do you think? Here's a question. Do you think in the next 10 years, distro will be fully locked down, no general Joe Schmo application? Because like 12 years ago. If people want to know how I got distro 12 years ago, I went on Oneida County. I live in Oneida County, New York. I looked up the county building, basically. I went and I paid $35 for a reseller or a certificate of authority. I paid $35 for a DBA. I registered with my DBA. I put in an account application with Matt Allen with GTS, and they approved me the same day, the same week. And then I started buying. Phantom Forces was the newest set. I could buy my boxes for like 85 or 88 a box, and I could buy all the way back. They had Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Triumphant, 24 plaque blister cases. I don't know how old Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Triumphant was in the XY Phantom Forces timeframe, 2014, but it was. I mean, Black and White was the prior block, and then Call of Legends, and then Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Triumphant was probably
you right away like. You got in the hobby and then got distribution immediately.
Yep.
Like you didn't take any time to just like be a consumer collector. Like
I bought one single. So part of my lore, part of my history, these are beer steins. Before reselling Pokemon cards, I did beer steins. I have some coins up behind me that are actually cut off right now. I did beer steins. I did coins. I did video games. I've been on eBay for 20 years. So I've been in Pokemon for 12, but I've been a reseller of some kind, a dirty scalper, capitalist, whatever
Right.
people want to call it. But I've been buying collections of video games, collections of coins. I've been buying a bunch of silver and reselling, like buy and resell. And the general idea behind why I did it was like, I don't want to just go buy my Schultz Stein for $50. I want to buy a collection of 10 Steins for 500, sell 9 Steins, and keep Schultz for free.
Yeah.
So that's what I've always done. Literally everything I have today, my collection building between 2014 and 2020, I did it in a savvy way as a business instead of as a consumer. So instead of paying 50 plus sales tax, I got it for free by doing some work, because at the time I was rich on time and broke on cash, right?
Yep.
So I couldn't justify spending $50 on that, but I wanted it.
Yeah,
I could justify spending a few hours buying a collection and flipping to get it for free. So yeah, like that's my whole origin story.
What play is better than Prismatic? Alex thinks it's Prismatic. Debate it, Bearman Dan. Bearman Dan.
I know Timmy McGee well. Timmy McGee, very, very bright guy, very, very bright future ahead of him. He's a pot stirrer though. He comes in all caps, like full meme. This is a very intentional comment. But again, I like Prismatic. I just don't like it today as much as Alex does. I don't know if you want to share how much you have, Alex, but last year I sold 25,000 packs of it, and I have about 7,000 packs. If the price goes lower, I'll add more. If and when I'm right, if and when it goes down to MSRP, basically, yeah, I would buy 25,000 packs of it. I would build up a big inventory of it.
I was actually trying to go through my Wix. So my problem is, I talked to you about this. I've made so many different like listings, whether it's like a bounty listing, a prize listing, a regular listing. So it's like I have to go add up all, because I have the data. Like, you know, if I like 5,000 packs, 3,500, like if I went through all the different Prismatic listings I made last year, I agree. Yeah, it was definitely in the well over 10,000 pack range of what we sold. So 100% Prismatic sells like no other. But I don't know, man. I just, it just feels, it feels like Crown Zenith. It feels like Hidden Fate. It just feels like the amount it's getting ripped, the amount of like value in that pack, the amount of people that want it, the gamble that there is there. It just feels like it just feels different. I don't know. It feels different than a lot of sets have. I've got 6 figures in Prismatic right now, and I'm comfortable with that right now. I'm cautious of Dan's opinions of if and when the big reprints come. So I don't really have a plan to go any deeper. Retrospecs actually contacted me a couple weeks ago, asking me about, you know, he picked up a big large lot and wanted to know if I wanted any. And I thought about it, and I was like, man, I think I'm set right now on it, but I'm definitely willing to buy more if and when Dan's right, and we do have a big reprint, big downturn. So I'd like to have more, but yeah, I mean, I'm just over 6 figures in it. That's where I'm at right now, and I'm willing to buy more in the future.
I love the transparency. I love the openness, the honesty, all that stuff. The thing that scares me is that there's a lot of noise in the peanut gallery. There's a lot of people that are perma-bulls on everything. And then you ask them, like Alex doesn't believe in Prismatic. People will be full bull, full like can't go down, guaranteed this, guaranteed that. Then you ask them, how much Destin Rivals do you have, Mr. Guy that guarantees it won't go
I have
300?
2 cases of Destin Rivals.
I have 2 boxes of Destin Rivals, or 2 It's like, it's scary. I always like to hear what people have. I like, and I know relatively Retro's operation. I know his situation. I know roughly how much he has, a lot of stuff. But one big difference is talk versus walk. There's a lot of people. They are all hat, no cattle. The Texas saying, I think, they are all talk, no walk. They will say this stuff in a YouTube live stream over and over and over. And it's like, you're so bullish on Prismatic, and you have 200 packs. And I know it's kind of, oh, Dan just has a lot more capital and he's talking down on people with less capital. But realistically, I think you're doing yourself a disservice investing with that little capital when you could turn it over a bunch of times, make it a bigger pile of capital, and then start investing. I think a lot of people, but again, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, If you're someone who doesn't have the time to do it now, everyone's situation is different. So any of these generalities, you just get caught up on details.
Well, and like the diversification, it's like I'm already way overly diversified in Pokemon than I should be, like compared to everything else. So it's like well over half my net worth. And then like I don't want to be also not diversified at all in Pokemon and have all my money in one product either. So it's like I'm comfortable with my prismatic. I still really believe in it, but like because the age, okay, put it this way. If we get to next January and it's still this price, then I will be picking a lot more up. But like the time frame of how long is left, the uncertainty, I'm happy where I'm at, just that way I don't miss out and it doesn't like run like double the price and then it drops back down to where it's at. But so I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm just cautious to go any deeper right now.
That's the big thing about me too. It's like at some point I will raise and wave the white flag. I will eat crow. I will whatever you want to call it. I will admit defeat at some point if I'm wrong. I'm not going to delete videos. I'm not going to go back. I have a thesis. I am walking the walk to match my talk. Like I have relatively less prismatic. I have relatively less destined because I think it's going to go down. If and when I'm wrong and the train leaves the station, I'll buy 10,000 more packs of prismatic in a year at 10 if I ended up being wrong and it never comes around to me. I'm fine with that. Because in the meantime, I've got Sword and Shield that I think is going to do fine. I've got early SV. I've got different things that I think are going to do fine. People get so, again, tunnel vision because they have 43 loose packs of Prismatic Evolutions, and they need every influencer on YouTube to tell them that that's going to go up. You're going to double your money. You're going to double your $300 into $600, right? Like, some of it's kind of actually crazy when you think about like the implications of what's actually going on in some of these conversations.
It really is. What about the news? What about the hive mind surrounding, like, you know, the hive mind's always been in Pokemon. It's crazy. I did a video like yesterday, day before, where it's like everyone hated Twilight. Twilight's huge. Everyone loved Journey. It was like the biggest thing at Worlds. Partner Pokemon, then Journey's now like, you know, crapped on. No one wants it. Well, now it's bad. The hive mind's back with this new set, this Perfect Order, and it's just like it's supposed to be the worst set ever. Nobody wants it. Like, I would err in caution to ever, you know, get too high or too low on something. Like obviously with Destin, the hive mind was right. And it became the most hype site in history at this point. But I mean, I wouldn't freak out and like think I had people reach out to me saying, Alex, I have Pokemon Center pre-orders that I got on Perfect Order. Do you think I should cancel those? Like, no, it's not gonna be that bad. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So like people are already worried that like MSRP is not going to be good because of the hive mind on YouTube, like is all against this new set. It's just the swings are so wild.
And frankly, like we could live in a world where a couple months from now, they wish they went back and canceled their pre-orders. It could come out under MSRP. They might not be able to pay sales tax, pay full MSRP, pay sales tax, pay 15% selling fees on eBay to sell it and make money. Like that's
a good point.
Yeah, they might. Like, we don't know their outlet. We don't know their outlet. They might regret that pre-order. We don't know.
If you're trying to immediately flip Perfect Order booster boxes and you're paying sales tax, even at MSRP, I don't think there's a lot of profit there. I think they're likely going to be doing that. They're likely going to be $200 a box, if not maybe a little less. In my opinion, we'll see.
One thing that's scary that I see in chat right now, Summit, is like why or how could one Prismatic go down? Like I can list you 50 reasons if you want to go live for another 3 hours. Like
everything just went down 5 minutes ago. Everything was just down 20-30%. What do we mean?
Yeah, so many reasons it can go down. It can be printed substantially more, and or demand can go down substantially. The S&P 500, some big political thing could happen. The EU could sell $6 trillion of U.S. treasuries. The treasury, like, things could get ugly.
It's the second time you said that. Do you know something?
I mean, there are risks. There are risks, both known and unknown. No, that's the second time
you said specifically EU and U.S. treasuries.
This week, I listened to a lot of recency bias in the content that I'm listening to. I listened to a lot of finance content this week and a lot of conversation around politically what's going on between the U.S. and its allies that were kind of being a little bit mean and naughty to. And there could be downstream implications of that. And many things could happen to make Prismatic go down, some of which have nothing to do with Pokemon. And like, oh, well, everyone. And another thing too, let's keep it in Pokemon. Forget about Greenland. Forget about politics. Forget about all that. Forget about the USD. Let's talk about Pokemon. What happens to Prismatic when they continue printing it simultaneously? PK is my main per GMV. PK is my main streamer. He one thing that he talks about a lot on his channel is like, if you could build the perfect Pokemon set, if you could design the next set, what would it be? One thing that he talks about, I talk about it a lot too, because we have a lot of overlap. Smash Brothers. If Pokemon would release a Super Smash Brothers set, picture this. In the booster boxes, you had you had Pikachu, like, you know, people love their poncho cards, right? Gray felt hat Pikachu. They love their poncho coat Pikachus. Imagine Pikachu wearing a Samus costume. Imagine Pikachu being Star Fox. Imagine Pikachu being Donkey Kong. Imagine like a Super Smash Brothers themed. I'm an N64 guy, so I would pick N64. Sure. I know a lot of people like Melee. A lot of people like the Switch one. But imagine for the next 2 years, Pokemon releases better sets than Prismatic. I agree, Prismatic is a very good set, but imagine they release only better ones. Perfect Order, all these different ones that are coming out. I know there's some weaker ones slated, but imagine for the next year, Pokemon hits 5 new sets that are all better than Prismatic. They're all S-tier sets. And simultaneously, Pokemon's still printing Prismatic, and they're printing a lot of those. And the printing comes online, and they print Prismatic through 2027, 2028. People will say they can't, but yes, they could. They have with different sets in the history. There are many ways inside of outside of Pokemon where Prismatic could go down. And the fact that some people think that's not possible is wrong and scary. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I'm saying it definitely could happen. And ultimately, the people saying that in chat probably have 100 packs or less of Prismatic.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it. They probably have 1 ETB case. They probably have a couple poster collections. They probably have a couple accessory pouch collections. I don't know.
I don't know, Dan. Like, I saw the last eBay auction end at $65 a bundle. Like, who would sell it for less than that if that's what last sold was?
Did you see? I don't know if you follow Cam or Peter on Instagram. They work at Golden. There was a confirmed paid sale. No, Cam from ZNG, yeah. He now works at Golden. He worked at PSA in between the two. There was a confirmed paid sale on Golden. Anyone go to golden.com, I think it's golden.co, for loose Prismatic Evolutions booster bundles. Sold, paid $1,000. That's a real transaction. Sold and paid on Golden. That's not the new market price. That's probably some boomer that normally buys sports memorabilia on Golden, that normally buys sports cards, that normally buys coins, normally buys artwork. They click the button. My grandkid loves Pokemon. They probably just bought. Maybe they thought it was a display.
Are you sure they weren't CT scanned bundles?
Oh, guaranteed God pack or something? Maybe. Who knows? It went for super cheap if it was that. But no, all this stuff is relatively arbitrary. The intrinsic value of all this stuff is zero. It's a highly speculative. It's only valued at what we agree upon, and consumer demand is very fickle. Yeah. Consumer demand can wane because of the next best thing inside of or outside of Pokemon. Consumer demand can wane because of dark times financially broader. So when people say like, how or why would people sell at a loss? You are so lost, I cannot find you. It's mean. Some people need to have people be mean to them. I mean, so that they can wake up to the reality.
Bringing up Cam and then with Z and G, like, dude, remember the saying, the sign?
Never punished.
Never punished. Yeah. Baby. No one's ever got punished yet, dude. If you got in this hobby in the last year, you've never got punished. I mean, maybe I guess there was time if you really bought a top and then that little drop, but like, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of punishment ever.
There will be.
Right. But until that comes,
at the time,
no how they're going to react.
Yeah. Like we need a good punishment. Honestly, we as a collective hobby, we need a good punishment sooner rather than later. Because the later that it happens, the more entrenched everyone gets and the more drastic the things will be. But like from 2020 to 2021, mid 2021, no one was punished. Yeah. Then where did that end? I sold a PSA 9 Shadowless Hollow set for $30,000. Vintage right now is booming, there are still cards that are not half of what I sold them for. So, some are getting back there. PSA 10 first edition Jungle Eevee, PSA 10 first edition Jungle Pikachu, they're clawing their way back. They're almost back to $1,000, I believe.
All the boxes made it back. Like, people would ask me all the time, like, do I regret selling all my vintage stuff? And dude, all the vintage boxes I sold, which were all Gen 1, it was, base unlimited, and then I allowed the first edition WotC, up till Gym Challenge. Most everything I sold back in 2021, it did not recover to what I sold it for until like last year, maybe like 20. Like, base set was back in like the teens. I sold it in the 20s.
There's slabs that still haven't. I sold several PSN 9 base unlimited Charizards for $6,000 to $8,000 a piece, and they're like $3,000 right now. There's a lot of slabs that might never recover. They still haven't recovered today, and they might never truly. PSA 10 base unlimited Charmanders, I was selling for $500-$600. Those are $200-$300 now. They've come up some, but they tanked 80-90%.
I gotta be honest, the modern cards, like some of the modern cards really scare me. And I can't tell if it's just, getting used, again, boomers, getting used to the new market, getting used to the new demand, the new rarities. But like, man, to see $1,000 cards, like so prevalent, like endlessly, $1,000 modern cards, it's like, wow, dude, like it used to take a long time for a card to be worth $1,000, right?
Oh, if the $400, we haven't even talked much about slabs. If the $400 Destined Rivals potential bag holders want to feel better, I can talk about my thoughts on modern slabs. I know, like I would have said this when the Gray Felt hat first hit 1,000 on its way up to the peak of 2,500. I would have said that is going to age abysmally. I still will say it today. In the meantime, it 2.5x. But what is it today? It went down to 1,300 from 2,500. It's almost back to 2,000. I think the Gray Felt hat Pikachu, maybe that's the exception that proves the rule. Maybe the Moonbreon is the exception that proves the rule. Most these high pop ultra modern slabs, I think, are going to age horrifically.
What? Like, I guess that's the question. What is high pop?
But like, if it's above 10,000 pop and it's above $1,000, most of those cards, but
do you think you can assign a number, or is it a percentage? I've been kind of thinking about this. Is it a percentage of cards printed, or is it a number?
I think,
because 1,000 in XY is high, but 1,000 in like Sword and Shield seems low.
Well, that's the thing though. 10 years from now, Sword, Shield, and XY will both be old. Sword, Shield will still be 10K pop. XY will still be 1K pop. These vintage grails will still be...
like you said, the printing from XY to Sword and Shield went up like, what, 8x? So, like, doesn't that make sense for the pops to be 8x?
Yeah, but again, I think that's going to age poorly. If the hobby grows to where, like Burger Chew's 200,000 pop. If the hobby grows in 5 years to where the new baseline floor for pops is 50,000, 100,000. Sure, the 10,000 to 20,000 pops might age very well because they're relatively low. But if this is like, and honestly, I think there's a decent chance that the future pops might be 25, 30,000 if we get to this world where we're printing 30 million cards a year.
The 151 Charizard already is.
Yeah.
I think that's like 75,000 graded, like 25,000 tens, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think those things are going to age poorly. I think those things are going to age really poorly, especially relative to sealed, relative to the S&P 500, relative to whatever thing you want to frame it to. But a lot of people are like, well, they're high and they've gone up and they're always going to be high and they're always going to go up. I don't know.
Yeah. Check this out here. I'll share it, guys. This is 151. There is 87,000 Charizard illustrators graded, 25,800 tens, and we know that's only going up. I mean, significantly still. I mean, what is that? Like over 33% of them are getting tens. I mean, it's still got a ways to go.
And people say like the art is better. Yes, okay, the art is better than the base unlimited Charizard. The art is better than the first edition WotC cards. Okay, yeah, sure. Yes, twice the art, right? The art will be better in 5 or 10 years.
So
right?
here, let's throw this. Let's throw this out there. The top tier cards of this Scarlet Violet era, but the pops are like the Charizard. They're all like, you know, teens to 20s. Or some of these, like you would say, like second tier type cards, like the Magikarp or Tyranitar from Paldea, or some of these cards that have like a 20% pop. They have like 1,500 population. Do you think those are going to perform well? Or are they just not popular enough, even so the low pop isn't as important?
I think the vast majority of slabs are not going to perform. And one thing I need to give a disclaimer to, and people are funny with this too. I don't hold many slabs. People will say Dan is crapping on slabs because he doesn't own them. I don't own them because I don't like them. Like things that I like that I'm going to talk positively about, I inherently will have more vested interest in that because I think they'll perform well. So I'll talk more positively on sealed, not because I have it to pump my bags. I have it because I like it. I'm going to talk positively about it because I like it. People get like, oh, he's just shilling his position. He's just talking down what he doesn't have. Like, you've commented on this before too. People are just crazy about
well, yeah,
that
it's like
thing.
it's like, dude, if I'm putting money into something, I'm going to tell you I believe in it. Like, why would I put money into something and be like, yeah, I don't really, this stuff's going. Of course, you're shilling your position. Like, of course, you're going to talk positively on what you own. That's why you own it, because you believe in it.
Yeah. And somebody said there's slabs behind me. There's a BGS 10 my Catch 'em All Collectibles MetaZoo promo.
Well, I know there's got to be a Shining Gyarados somewhere back there.
There's a PSA 10 Quaxley right here. There's a PSA 9 Kickstarter MetaZoo Bigfoot. And then there's a PSA 10 I did buy recently. Collector Boy Dan.
You got the 10?
I'm not pumping it. I own one.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite arts in the hobby. The Burn Tower Japanese.
I thought you had a first edition Shining Gyarados 10.
I have a 9. I do have a 9.
I thought you were going to tell me you upgraded it.
Collector Boy Dan does hold some stuff, but yeah, I think it'll probably never change, but I think the market drastically overvalues the third party, highly inconsistent opinion of whatever your favorite 3-letter acronym for a grader is.
What is the number? What's the number on the Pikachu? Oh, here it is.
Gray felt hat.
46,000 tens. Out of 102 graded.
I think the Burger Chew's over 200,000 tens now, isn't it? It's crazy. And I might be wrong.
Would you say they're worth $2,000 right now?
I think they peaked at 2,500. I think they got down to about 1,200. I want to say they've been selling for 1,800 or so.
So guys, there's roughly a 92 million market cap on the tens alone. If you add in all of them, there's what 100 plus million market cap on one card in Pokemon.
And there's a ton at CGC and there's a ton at BGS and like it's, but honestly, like the hobby could grow. We could be printing 30 billion cards in 5 or 10 years. We could be printing 50 billion cards in 20 years. Like who the hell knows? But talk versus walk. I am 90+% in sealed. I hold very little in slabs. I use grading companies as a tool to increase the value of my cards, and then I sell them into the market. I see slabs as a tool to take money out of the hobby, frankly. I don't or to allocate money into sealed in the hobby as opposed to I don't like slabs.
I like short-term plays on slabs. You know, like there's definitely times when like kind of goes back to like timing the market. You know, like you can kind of get a sense when like things drop off and then they have, you know, it's almost like reading charts. It's like, you know, you see big spikes and then you see corrections, then you see times of stagnation. Like I see that as like an accumulation period. And if it's something I believe in, like I'll jump in and play the swings and usually do pretty well with it. But like that's my biggest like interaction with slabs. Like, you know, any slab I own right now, I probably won't own in a year from now. And then I'll own a batch of new slabs type thing. So I'm kind of with you with that.
Yeah. And I've done some momentum plays myself. I infrequently do I buy slabs at or near full market price. When I do, I use my sales tax exemption. I don't pay sales tax, but I do buy a lot of slabs at 80% to sell them on live streams. I buy a lot of slabs at 80-85% to sell them at 100% of market and make that little margin. But last summer I felt like we were booming. It felt like there were rumblings going on in vintage. I bought a PSA 10 from Landry Pop Auctions, PSA 10 Venusaur first edition from Landry Pop Auctions for like 17 grand. It was within weeks of when the first Burger Chew Black Label sold for $21,000. So I literally bought a PSA 10 base first Venusaur for cheaper than a Black Label Burger Chew. I bought it for 17 grand. I held on to it for a couple months. I was waiting for things to kind of move. I thought I was playing like a little momentum play. I sold it on my Fanatics, and I profit $30,000. It sold for over 50 grand 2 months later. I thought I was gonna make 2 or 3 grand on a nice little like spec play. I thought I was gonna make 10% in a couple months. I made 300% in a couple months.
That is sickening.
That was like mostly luck. I think I saw some underlying things. Like I think I had a good thesis, but hindsight, it's like I should have bought a couple $100 grand in PSA 10 base for slabs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I made millions, right?
Bobby says, I love my slabs. Sealed is gay. Now, the reason I highlighted this, I think he's right, because I have been stacking all my sealed together, all of it, all different kinds. It's never reproduced for me. So I think it is gay. I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, no dividends, no reproduction. Now your stocks, your stocks are, I guess they're heterosexual.
Yeah,
because
the sealed, I mean, dude, I've been storing it for years. It's never once mated.
Yeah. So I have all this VT Sacks, and I put it away. I put it in my account. I put it in my 401k, my IRA, and I close the doors on it. And I had 100 shares of it. And then a year later, when I do my check-in, there's 102. It's like something's going on there. I mean, there's something happening there behind closed doors. Man. So, yeah,
I love it. Guys, I think we officially went off the tracks. I think we reached the end of our Pokemon conversation. Dan, dude, you got? First of all, guys, obviously Dan's link pinned to the top of the chat, top of the description. Make sure you guys go subscribe, check them out. I don't know, man. What else you got to add? Anything else you want to end with?
No, I think we covered it all there. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, chat, for being engaging throughout this whole time here. The biggest takeaways, if you weren't here the whole time, if you're doing business, don't be paying sales tax. Get things set up above board. Know what you're up against. Life isn't always going to fare. Certain people will have certain advantages that you don't. Leverage your advantages and use the ones that people offer you for free. Like Alex shouts out, sponsor of the channel, Arizona TCG. Do they have better rates, or they have like the same rates as it?
They got a lot better rates this year. The thing about Arizona TCG is, man, I mean, I saw it from the first time they reached out to me. Like, dude, I've used consignment services. Their back end tracking that allows you to see where the product's at from start to finish, where every dollar's at for the process. I just love that. Like, dude, sending it off to someone like ProScene or someone, it's like, dude, you throw your stuff in the box. You don't know where it's at. The black hole. They let you know when it gets there, then it sells and it disappears off your sheet. Then you wait for an email to say what your payouts are. A lot of times you don't get the whole payout, so you have to like reach out to them weeks later to see where your money's at. So when it comes to that, Arizona TCG, I think is the best. I think some people's rates may be a little lower, a little higher, whatever, but it's competitive. We'll say it's competitive.
I know I've never used Arizona TCG myself. At some point, I'll probably send them a small package just to try it out. But DC Sports they have like a dashboard that it shows you what's there, that shows you what's listed, what payments are pending, what payments you can request to pay out, and it's clean. I personally do consignments through Fanatics, and I have like a Google sheet. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to do those things. So mine's not entirely a black hole. I think it's better than some of them, but it's significantly behind your Arizona TCGs and your DC Sports.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree with everything you said, man. Like, I mean, yeah, nothing's fair in the hobby, but every single person that's made in this hobby has started from that same unfair playing field and all made. I mean, gosh, dude. I mean, because a lot of people like we all kind of came up around the same time on YouTube. I mean, dude, I remember freaking James Z&G, like, dude, he was like making videos, cracking boxes, selling heavy packs, and then eventually got that deal to like be a middleman for Graded Gem, and that fell apart, and then just started consigning, and now he's a $50 million business and one of the biggest consigners in all of eBay. Like, I mean,
Retro, who you had on last week, he nearly, I don't know if he hit it, but eight figure ish business. And I remember a few years ago, my first meeting him. I forget which event I met him at first, but I first met him like in Discord. I met him in the Patreon Discord that I run, and seeing how many people, there's James, there's Retro, there's myself and yourself, how far we've come. It is crazy. The amount of people that don't have channels, that don't have followings, that shoot me messages. They shoot me messages every so often. They shoot me their 90 day. They shoot me their whatever it may be. I love that. I love seeing how far everyone's come. And one thing I'll say too, if you sit on your hands and you say it's not fair, and if you say that, well, he had this and he had that and she had that and I don't have that, you're never going to get anywhere. If you put your head down and you start grinding though, and you start working, the opportunities here are they're functionally endless. They're functionally
absolutely
infinite, like depth in this market right now for the individual.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of the 90 day, 160 day, but I get like the collector app stuff, and like people just tell me like, yeah, I've been following you for the last couple of years. Look at this. Like I started with, whatever, 5,000, 10,000. It's crazy, dude. Like the amount of 6-figure collections now is astronomical. And back, I mean, a few years ago, it was crazy to have 10, 20, 30K. Like the big guys had 100K plus,
Yep. Yeah. I just Wednesday, I bought the second and the third largest collections I've ever bought in my 12 years in the hobby. And the amount of times that, and part of that is like, I know a lot's being ripped, but a lot's being invested in too. And like those two things being at odds that we talked about an hour and a half ago or whatever. Cool. But no, it's all crazy to be able to go and cash some people out of 5-figure positions and this doesn't apply to Wednesday, but occasionally, like I've aided in the funding of a wedding. I've aided in the funding of paying off someone's house. I've aided in the funding of paying off student loans or whatever it may be. Like it's really cool to be that part of someone's story of their journey, right? It's really cool to be that liquidity event for someone.
Well, I mean, not like that, you were able to, PK, you were able to help him do full-time in the hobby, like give him that outlet, and you're talking about other people that are going to be full-time. Like that's, dude, I love anyone that's able to start doing their passion or like, what they enjoy as their job. Like that's huge. And like, I mean, me and PK had our whatever little beef and YouTube investing side back in the day, but no, I'm really happy for him. And like seeing everyone so successful, it's just, it's a good feeling to like see like, anyone like stick at something and like, learn the ins and outs of it and, find a way to like make a living from it, make it their life. Like, it's so cool. Like, because so many people out there do things they hate every day, and to be able to do something you enjoy is just, I mean, you've already won. No matter what you're making, you already won.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. But yeah, very much appreciate you having me on here, and always a fun chat. And thanks everyone in chat for being here. I didn't glance at it the whole time, but every time I looked over, there was some fun conversation going on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys back in a new one in the future. And we'll have Dan back on as always. But check him out, guys. Subscribe to his channel. We are out.
Have a good one.